I've got bruised souls, cause I'm way gone, trying to find my way back home. Count my bones as in desert crumbs spoon. I'm gonna turn all of my stones.
Rock bottom make the man and some pressure make a gemstone. Try to put $1 to my name like Creflo. Naja boy, late to the game, it's in the blood flow. And I'm from the south, it's thick skin and tough bone. Big attitude through big lips with gusto. Trust no kings, that's why they tried to crush souls. But it's IGBO, when the dust blow, this old head be standing there. No silver, just gold. Crack no books on the hustle, I was born to grind. Yo, scared of your potential, I'm adorned with mine. 30 times around the sun, man, of course I shine. My legacy will not dwarf with time. And in my daughter's eyes is basic, I must not say quit. Every day sees a present like a Rob St. Nick. Walk a fine line between tenacious and patient. I can't slip, I'm fighting clocks and they can't win.
I've got bruised souls, cause I'm way gone, trying to find my way back home. Count my bones as in desert crumbs flow. I'm gonna turn all of my stones. I've got bruised souls, cause I'm way gone, trying to find my way back home. Who that soldier in the mirror? Oh, oh. I'm gonna turn all of my stones.
Impeccably I flow, hardest raps you know, breaking status quo, reaping what I sow, artistry like Django. Get it from my mama hip, so thick that I need tempo. Personality, spicy body banging like a bongo. Cause black women been it since Timbuktu, since Pharaoh. Sponge rollers and hot combs, lips, cheeks and brow bones. If you ain't for the culture, then please stay out of my zone. These little dummy rappers could never grace my headphones. See, I'm from a place in space where ain't no storytelling, you just had to have been there. If you want the battle, ain't no problem, say where. I got so much experience, I can't even play fair. But I'ma keep evolving and growing and hurting feelings and showing you need endurance to go in. I got mileage on this pen, I've been busy cause I've been out here schooling all these kids. Took 3 decades to have this glow up that I did.
I've got bruised souls, cause I'm way gone, trying to find my way back home. Count my bones as in desert crumbs flow. I'm gonna turn all of my stones. I've got bruised souls, cause I'm way gone, trying to find my way back home. Who that soldier in the mirror? Oh, oh. I'm gonna turn all of my stones. Turn all of my
Let's watch.
Don't get me back to good bullshit.
everyone, and welcome back to my channel. This is Lady Freedom here, coming at you with another raw narrative, and it's so good to see all of you guys today. Sorry I did not write down tonight's visitors like I usually do, or anybody that comes in to show love before the show. I really appreciate it, and especially the stalkers that like to come in before the show. You guys are really top notch. So good to see all of you guys. Mama, thank you for being here. Also, Lori, Kiki, thanks for being here. Hey guys, I dropped Kiki's link earlier because she's doing some really great research, and I appreciate people who are doing research out there rather than stalking other people's lives and lives and being weird. And so go Kiki. Rob Beanie, good to see you. Long time no see, Rob Beanie. Hey, Show Poodles. Show Poodles has been a member for 5 months. Thank you so much. Love you for helping Sebastian. Beautiful Lady F. Thank you. Aw, geez. Thank you so much for being a member for 5 months. It's so crazy when I look back and I'm like, when did I start going live, And then I realize, boy, I've been going live now for like 7 months. So it's crazy. And I really thought Sebastian would be found by now. I really did. Hey, Captain Jules, good to see you, sweetheart. Thank you for all the hard work that you do. Look, we have a lot of strong women in our community. And, on the night shift with K9 Gator, says Captain Jules. She says, on the phone, so I'll be in and out. I can't tag anyone, but blanket hello and hugs to all. Aw, that's so sweet. Thank you, Jules. I really appreciate you stopping in and especially listening to me while you're working. Means a lot to me. Thank you. And Stephanie Williams, good to see you. Good to see you, Stephanie Williams. And thank you for the green hearts always, guys. I really appreciate it. Hey, Kathy Bartholomew, good to see you. Gator's back on the grind, huh? Robini, glad he's feeling better. That's wonderful. Thank you, Robini. But I really thought Sebastian would be found by now. It's really, really sad. It's like, I don't know. It's ridiculous, frustrating, all the things, right? All the things. It's sad. Hey, Billy B, for you. Thank you. Oh, you're stunning yourself, Billy B. Thank you. That's so sweet of you. Hey, Hope. Hey, G864. So nice to see you. Good to see you, Town Chat Cafe. Brenda Marshall, thank you for being here. I'm so glad to have you tonight. Thank you for being here, Brenda. I really appreciate you. And it's so good to see Haunting Hope. Andrea, good to see you. Let's see. Thank you for the green hearts, Andrea. Well, good. I think I got all you guys. I hope I got all you guys. If you stopped in earlier, thank you so much for hitting the like and for commenting in the chat. So I have a few things to share tonight. One big piece of news is that we are looking at a possible new DA. Well, they're going to have to replace this DA. They're all elected officials. So, but 45 years as the 18th Judicial District Attorney General, Ray Whitley has announced his retirement effective September 1st, 2025, marking the end of a distinguished career that saw him become the longest serving DA in Tennessee. Okay, I don't know about distinguished career. I would say it's long and overdue to have someone new in there, especially when there are no checks and balances for 45 years and the same guy has been in charge. I've told you all about the Dailies being in charge in Chicago, very heavily into the organized crime, right? It's part of Chicago history. I can't deny it. So please don't feel like I'm bashing anybody's hometown or trying to say anything. I mean, I've lived corruption in Chicago. Right. So Ray Whitley, 18th Judicial Attorney General, made the announcement today, effective September 1st, marking the end of his career with Sumner County. Good riddance, in my opinion. And again, I'm sorry, but this is ridiculous. We have way too many people that are too deeply involved and don't want to step on anybody's toes. Now, that doesn't mean that they're not going to find a good replacement. to keep on the legacy of turning the other cheek and acting like it's not happening when it is. He says that when he took on the role, I could never have imagined the journey ahead and the challenges, the triumphs, the heartaches and hopes, Whitley said. Right. And, one thing I can say about that is I don't know his record. I was trying to look up how many, wins he's had, kind of what he's actually done, right? Because again, when it's your hometown and they believe in you and, they think that you're doing the right thing, or, maybe that they've turned the other cheek for you and looked the other way for you. And so maybe you support that. But, I don't know the exact statistics on, his career, but I will say that the way that he's handled the Sebastian Rogers case is not to my liking. And, that's my opinion. I think it's highly corrupt. Whitley was the U.S. Army veteran, Vietnam War veteran, and he was licensed in 1970 to practice law. He received his Juris Doctor from the University of Memphis, Cecil C. Humphreys School of Law, and his undergraduate degree from Louisiana State University. Not a stupid man. Just want to let you all know he's not stupid. He's educated. Yet he still is letting this go. And we're just YouTubers, right? So, arguably, he knows more than me about the law. So what's the issue, right? Now, I was born in 1982, and he's been serving since then, right? So it's like, yikes, okay, right? And continuously, he's been reelected multiple times. Again, it reminds me of the dailies. For more than 4 decades. As long as I've been alive, folks, I could not have made it this far for this long without the dedication of our law enforcement professionals, the courage of victims and their families, and the unwavering support of this community and my own loving family. It has truly been the honor of my lifetime to serve the people of District Attorney General all these years, said Whitley. As I said before, good riddance. And I can't wait to see what will happen next, and hopefully we'll get someone good in here. Again, I can't speak to his record. Hey, Hope Floats. Hey, WV Holler Girl. Good to see you. But I can speak to what he's done in this case. And what's really sad and sick at the same time is that people have really lost their moral compass during this case. Like, if they ever had one, then it was lost in this case. And that's unfortunate for Sebastian. Haven't they been saying Sebastian's case is on his desk the whole time? Yes. And he hasn't done much of anything to move it forward, in my opinion. There's a lot of circumstantial evidence, in my opinion. I really believe that. And again, I don't pretend to be smarter than the average bear even. But somebody who has been through law school, he made it through Vietnam, right? Viet-freaking-Nam, he made it through there. So I'm not disparaging him as a person. I'm just wondering what he has been doing this whole time about, in terms of Sebastian's case, and why is it not important to him? Is it because he was like, I'm going to retire soon? Woohoo. Like, that might be something to consider after you've been doing it for this long, right? Fresh set of eyes never hurts. K9 Captain Jewel says this is like in Idaho when a lot of the PDs started to leave. Yeah, exactly. And it's sad, right? That it's so corrupt. Yeah, Billy B for you says it's all corrupt, in my opinion. All corruption. Yeah. And I've tried to really look out for things to make me believe one way or the other, right? I've tried to dig into different things, and everything points to corruption for me. It's very odd. Most people aren't going to get away with this kind of shit. I mean, I wouldn't. My butt would be in jail. Brenda Calvert says 45 years in the same job. Anyone would be complacent at a minimum. I believe that too, Brenda. That's such a great point. Because, you know, you're just so used to your job at that point, right? You're just kind of like going through the motions. I don't know what kind of a boring person. No, I'm just kidding. I'm sure being a DA is exciting. But I mean, being at a job for like that long, like seriously, I'd be like punching my time card, like, when am I going to die? Like, you know, I mean, it would just be, I am more of a creative type of a person. And so to me, that like mundane lifestyle is not something that I would enjoy. But some people do. And, you know, we need all types of people. So Hope Float says Kiki just watched on the replay. Yes. Great show, Kiki. Great show. And drop your link, Kiki. Feel free to, or mods, please drop Kiki's link. She's doing a great job over there. We need people like that to have more subscribers than a whole bunch of assholes, you know, saying like, oh, look, I don't see a cat, do you? Or, you know, I mean, it's like ridiculous. We need those people to be recognized and not the latter, in my opinion. And they get a lot of, you know, props from each other, even when it's really dumb and they don't like, they're not helping each other out, right? It's like, you know, please, if I have a horrible show and you guys think I did something up here, please email me and let me know, because I take constructive criticism. I really do. I like to better myself, and I don't want to surround my people, or excuse me, I don't want to surround you people either, my people around these people either. But I mean, I don't want to surround myself with people who like cheer on somebody doing a shit job. Like, to me, it's like, you know, don't be rude about it. Don't be public, but say it behind the scenes and say, hey, you're not doing, you know, you didn't do a good job here, or you were wrong. I could take it. I'd rather that than what I'm seeing out there. And again, when I see somebody doing a good job, hell yeah, go over, subscribe, because people who work hard should really get that. And the ones that don't need to stay where they're at, you know, on Easy Street. That's cool. That's cool with me. YouTuber says successfully prosecuted thousands of violent offenders and advocated for victims' rights and established innovative programs aimed at deterring substance abuse and enhancing public safety. Wow. YouTuber says, Well then, I mean, it sounds really jazzed up and nice, you know. It sounds really jazzed up and nice, but I don't know. Oh, all in the same VFW, by the way. Wow. And that says a lot too, because a lot of stuff goes on in the VFW. I mean, it is like a lot of little old men drinking their beer and having a, you know, relaxing time talking to each other. But there's also, I'm sure, private conversations that you wouldn't mind being the bartender on that one. You know what I mean? Because people love to tell the bartender everything about their lives. I've been on both sides of that. So Show Poodle says undergrad from my state, also crooked politics. Yeah, and see, that's the thing, right? Because that's the thing that's going to get you elected hand over fist year after year, even more so than people really liking you and thinking you're doing a good job, right? Which is sad. I wonder if Glenn J has anything to do with this. You know, I don't know. I'm not sure. It wasn't. I wonder how expected it was, or what, when it came to the decision to retire. Like, was it something that he has been planning on for, say, like a year or so? Has he always thought, well, I'm going to do this many years and then I'm done? Yeah, I wonder what the motivation is too, Kiki. I wonder. It makes me wonder. Town Chat Cafe says, Lady Freedom, just a quick question. Are your memberships still $3.99? Yes, they are. I have to go back in. When I first did all this, you guys, I was like very new and green. And I'll go back and look and see what exactly they are. But I'm pretty sure the first tier, I think I did like a $3.99 a $5.99 and it's $7.99. I think is what I did. And we are going to do the members only tomorrow night because I worked on some things yesterday that I was going to be working on Sunday, and I just figured I'd work on them and keep working on them. And there were a few things that I wanted to watch too. So I did that, and I also collaborated a little bit also. But Monday, I would like to just kind of do like an intro and instruction on how to view these photos, right? Because, okay, just using the ridiculous as an example, it is very difficult to see the cat. And I'm not saying that, people are silly because they can't see the cat. I get it because it's dark, right? And then the lights that are shining, there's like a house behind this vehicle, right? The black vehicle. And it's very much illuminated. Like whatever lights they have is just like a big pattern of lights, right? And then that's where the little boy was looking for the cat underneath, or the little boy, he's like a teen, right, looking for a cat. And then there's also like some lights in the back too. I'm trying to think off memory, but there's also some lights because again, there's no street lights in the neighborhood. And so at night it does get terribly dark, but people obviously have, found ways around that and put lighting up around their house, or they have the big floodlights on their house, or, whatever it is. So with that being said, it's very difficult, especially when you have a porch camera that is all the way on the door, or I think it's a Ring camera of some sort, Ring doorbell camera. And so it is going to be really difficult to see an animal, right? Unless it's like a brightly colored, like a big white cat or something, or a dog or something like that. But yeah, I think it is odd. That's what, Billy B says, isn't it funny his leaving now when he said he would call the death penalty, or that he would call on the death penalty in Sebastian's case. Yes, I do find that to be odd. I do. And especially when you make a promise when you're kind of an older person who's been in that position for how long, so he, and that, Billy B, thank you for that. That really speaks to the fact that he thinks that he's just going to be reelected and reelected. He doesn't even think about the fact that he could have somebody come in and be voted out. That's weird, right? It's like he's a shoo-in for it. Corruption, baby. I'm telling you, Chicago girl, right here. And again, not disparaging Sumner County. It's just how it goes sometimes. Hey, a little Miss Sharon, thank you so much for gifting Lady Freedom's Raw Narratives membership. If you do get a membership, say thank you to Little Miss Sharon. That's so sweet of you. And welcome to the Dragon Tribe. Let's see. I have Town Chat. Thank you. Thank you also for gifting a membership. And make sure you tell Town Chat Cafe thank you and welcome to the Dragon Tribe. Thank you. Thank you. You guys are amazing. So, hey, Hindsight. Good to see you. Good to see you. Yes. I made sure that I set my notification for your live also, Hindsight. Thank you so much. Viet freaking Nam reminds me of Forrest Gump. Kiki, exactly. Remember that guy? He was hilarious, right? When I was a kid, I thought that was the funniest thing I've ever seen when he did that, when he was like, Viet freaking, and Lieutenant Dan really made me laugh because he was really funny when he got up there and was screaming and acting crazy. I was like, oh my gosh, this guy. But he made his peace. YouTuber says, sorry, I'm just going by membership gifting prices. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Thank you, Town Chat Cafe. I have to go in there and tweak it a little bit to you guys. Suzanne, good to see you. Because in the beginning, I didn't know what the hell I was doing. I still don't really know what I'm doing, if I'm going to be honest with everybody. But I'm working it. Aw, really, GA64? That's cool. That is really cool. I couldn't believe that when I saw it. I was like, oh my gosh, really? So he's been in office that long? I never did a whole bunch of research on DA Whitley. I just didn't, because I figured, if he's not going to charge and he's not going to do anything, like there's nothing that, I don't know. I was just frustrated, I guess, and I'm like, it is what it is, but now it's starting to become more and more clear that the corruption is so deep, Yeah, I'll put it down. I'll put it down to make it more affordable. Well, and like I said too, Town Chat, I was getting some advice in the beginning, as I was going along, and I don't know how accurate it was. You know what I mean? I don't know. But I do want to tweak some things behind the scenes as well. And Hindsight, I'm going to be using a video that you put out of Bobbie the neighbor today, just to refresh everybody's minds, because I think that there's definitely a cat in the video, Jules. Yes, there is. Thank you. I kind of got sidetracked. So, because again, I'm not trying to say like, oh my gosh, I can't believe you can't see the freaking cat. It's right there, because it's hard to see the cat, and it is a dark colored cat. I think his name is Socks, and so like he's like all black, and then he's got his paws are white, and so that's why they call him Socks. I've known tons of cats that look like that, and their names were Socks or Boots or something like that. You know what I mean? It's a cute little nod to the fact that they're all black and they have white feet or legs, whatever. Don't be sorry, Jules. Yes, Kiki. Hindsight, yes. Excuse me, I'm sorry. I saw Kiki's message. I agree. And that's what I'm saying. We have so many good people out there. Like, I do not like when people are like, no one's talking about Sebastian. Bull crap, we still are. And I'm going to tell you, the ones that are still hanging on, we're researching like a mother. So you guys better watch out, because I know they love to spread that narrative around. Oh, nobody cares about Sebastian. Nobody's, covering him, and Born a Honey, good to see you. But we have all kinds of people covering him, guys. All kinds. Sometimes we get stuck in this vacuum of YouTube, and we think that this is all there is, right? It's kind of scary, and it's kind of it worries me. Let's just put it that way. It worries me because of people's mental health. It worries me because this is not everything, right? This is not everything. And I just want to say that because there's a lot out there, and a lot of people care. And it's not just about, all of that. Thank you, little Miss Sharon. Thank you. That's so sweet. Born a Honey, a girl's gotta eat. YouTuber. That's true. Well, and I just didn't want to tick anybody off by putting something really low on, and I didn't want to devalue myself. I guess that, I try to do it moderate, but then, but I still have to get into the groove of how all the members stuff works. But I have a really good members only plan for you all. There's going to be some things and some revelations that I've come to in the Sebastian Rogers case, and I just would really like to share that with members only at first. And I understand that people can steal it and take it and say whatever they want. I don't care about that. It doesn't ever bother me. People can talk all they want. SI officer says the damn sponsored black again. Oh, SI officer, I don't know why it's doing that. See, and it's not showing glitches on my end. But I also learned a lot. I learn a lot as I go into these other channels, kind of about. It's weird, but you learn about how people think that they know what happened to you more than you do. And it's kind of crazy. And it's something that I just want to reveal some things that I've realized, and just share some things about myself that I think, hey, Canadian True Crime, good to see you, that I think people are absolutely misconstruing. And, you know, hey, Twists and Turns, good evening to you. Yes, do it. I need pictures. I need pictures of that. Jewel says I'm totally gonna dress up like Daenerys and have Canine Gator and Ara be dragon version. That is so cute. While we hand out candy to the kids, that is a badass. That's a badass idea. I need to see it. You would do perfect for that, Jules, because of like your hair, and like because you're tough. Yeah, that's why I love the Dragon Mom, right, Daenerys from Game of Thrones, because basically she was very abused and very underestimated and mistreated by her family, and she like goes out and she kicks major, like all forms of ass, and liberates all these different like villages and things. I know it's kind of probably not everybody's cup of tea, but it's mine. I like fantasy and that kind of stuff, and medieval things. But yeah, she just like is very powerful. She turns her pain to power, and I love that. I think that is what needs to happen to all of us. Don't shy away and go into those dark corners and with the nasty people. Like, you shine, you be bright, right? You let your light inside of you shine. Don't worry about what other people are doing. Be enough for yourself first. Oh my goodness. Jill says, although I don't know how that is going to go, considering I put boots on Canine Gator today and he was absolutely not a fan. I have a picture of my little pug, and it's the same way. Like, I put him in a birthday hat. Like, he was so happy to be next to his birthday cake, but I ruined it because I put like a hat on him, and he's like, really? Is this happening right now? Canine Gate or Kiki says, Jules, we had a German Shepherd, and my son was a dog handler, and the dog was the police dog for Halloween. Oh, that is so cool. That is very cool, Kiki. Yeah, I got to come up with a good costume this year too, guys. I don't know what I'm going to wear up here, but I'm going to wear some. You best believe I'm going to, that's my favorite holiday. I love Halloween. I'm going to come up with something funny. We'll see. You guys never know what you're going to get with me. And Town Chat Cafe says, I just wish YouTube would let us choose who it goes to. Yeah. Oh, who the membership lands on. Yeah. People in the chat could benefit from it, but just random. Yeah. Or if your friend, would like to be a member, but they're, they can't make it this month or something. It'd be nice to gift a friend a membership, right? Like, gift a friend directly. I always said that too, Town Chat Cafe, because like I know it's used widely throughout the community to shake people out of the bushes, and I get that, and it's funny, in a way, because you'll see like a bunch of haters get it, but then the person who just paid for it's like, that sucks, Yeah, it was a great pick. Yeah, it's perfect that way. German Shepherds are the best, Twists and Turns. They're sweet dogs. They're smart. Yeah, it's hard to see little Miss Sharon, but there is a cat. And then there's I want to say it's the same cat that was going up the stairs at the back property too. So, I mean, it is what it is. And I don't want to, I didn't get a chance to watch. I will say I never did get a chance to watch where they actually go in with the cat. Somebody said that there was a video out there where they actually go in with the cat, but I have not seen the video yet. Which Yeah, I've seen that too. Jules says socks, and I know of a black cat with a white spot on his chest. Yep, and his name is Tux because he looks like he's wearing like a little tuxedo t-shirt. That's so cute. Or tuxedo, I should say. That's adorable. Thank you, Hindsight. I really appreciate that too. And the same goes for me. I try not to do too much music if I can help it. If it's something that's very like heavily commercialized, because sometimes they don't like us using it right or reusing it, I'll put music backing it. And those ones make it harder to share, you know, because I do pay for the music. But um, sorry guys, researching like a mother. I mean, it's crazy, Little Miss Sharon. I can't believe it. Like, I'll every time I turn around, somebody's doing something really good, or I'll be on the phone, you know, speaking with somebody, and I'll be like, "Oh my gosh," you know, we'll be comparing notes, and it's like, "Holy cow, you're doing great! Like, that's awesome!" Like everybody, and then I'll turn on like Crime Time Buzz, and she's doing something, and I'm like, "Oh boy!" And then you know, Mob Crew, another one that's just does a lot of research and you know doesn't. He doesn't mind being wrong. He doesn't mind being wrong. You know, when you are being authentic and you are um, doing your best, there's times when you're going to come out wrong, right? Because you're really just trying to figure everything out. So he's one that does a lot of research. If his research leads him to one direction, he'll share that with us. But then if there's something that, you know, he has misspoke on or something like that, he's always there to fix it and let us know what, you know, what the correction is. But it's really something that should be, I guess, respected more, because if you're putting yourself out there and you're creating and you're doing these videos and you're researching like this, you deserve the kudos for doing that, in my opinion. And when you have enough courage to do that, you also have the confidence to come back and say, "I'm sorry, I made a mistake here, and this is what it was." So I guess that's the best way I can put it. Um, Ooh, thank you. Joel says also Fisher, Canine Max is not a force protection canine. There is no such thing as a freaking force protection canine. He didn't even know Canine Max was not scent specific until I freaking said it on JC's live. Yeah, and that's the thing. You made that video long time ago, didn't you? I remember it was it was either a short or a shorter video, and you were talking about that, like how Max was not scent specific, and I was like, what? Wait a minute. And so I went back and I'm like, oh, okay. Oh, you know what I mean? And those are the things that are so important to remember. These dogs are trained in different ways, right? And like, I mean, obviously, I think a lot of people know about the cadaver dog versus a dog who, you know, is a scent dog that smells for people who are alive, and blah, blah, I can't say it now again. Cadaver dogs are trained to find people who have expired. We'll put it that way. So, sorry. Hold on, I lost my place here, guys. I'm getting back up. Porna Honey says, I'm a Halloween junkie. You could have different people come on the panel and we vote on costumes. That would be so fun. We need to do a costume party for sure. Yeah, we will do that. That would be so fun. All right, we'll do a costume party, and you know, vote on the best. You know, that sounds like a great idea, Borna Honey. I love Halloween. It's just fun. You can dress up as whoever or whatever you want, you know, and it's absolutely fun. Brenda says, no, it was a news interview. May have been Nick Barris interviewed Ray Whitley. I remember him being on with Nick. I'm trying to think of where I saw that. That's interesting. Oh, I got you. Jules says, essay officer, a certain creator keeps saying it on the live stream. They also don't know that because they involved themselves in military stuff, JAG can act on them for malicious intent. Oh, wow. Yeah, and see, that's the thing that people don't understand, that they're doing things that are going to get themselves in trouble in the name of someone who really doesn't give a crap about them. It's so sad, you know. Hey Vic, good to see you. Like, it is so sad. I would never want you guys to do anything that would get yourselves in trouble for me. Like, please don't. It's not worth it, and don't involve with these other people. They're awful. Born a Honey said, I swear, had this convo and with my with my son 5 minutes ago. Don't dim your light for nobody. Born a Honey. I love that, you know, and that's such good advice, especially because the world could make you feel guilty or like you're doing wrong or like you're bad for, you know, putting your light out, you know, and it's always going to happen, like no matter what. It's just funny. Rumors or whatever, or somebody, they see you and they're thinking, well, I wish I could do that, and instead of like befriending you and stuff like that, you could, yeah, I could be a dragon. I don't know, I'd have to have wings or something. YouTuber. But yeah, they're just always, there's always going to be somebody that has some stupid shit to say. I mean, and it's not true. And, you know, that's the thing. You know, don't let anybody tell you like who you are, because you know who you are. So, that's wonderful, Born a Honey. I love that. I always try to be like that with my daughter too, you know, because if she needs something, she knows she calls me. Oh, the Coldplay. Everyone's talking about the Coldplay concert, Brenda. Everybody's talking about the Coldplay concert. So there was like this CEO guy, right, that was having an affair with his office secretary or staff or somebody. And they were like, you know how they have the jumbotrons. I've never been to a concert that had a jumbotron, but I've been to like basketball games and stuff with them and different whatever sporting events. But when it got to when it got to them, you know how they'll do like a kissing thing, like, you know, kiss the person you're with or whatever, like on the jumbotron they look for couples. And so he was standing in back of her and she was in front of him, you know, and they were like, you know, whatever, enjoying the show. But then when they saw themselves on the jumbotron, he dove he like dives out of the way. I'll have to bring it on for you guys to watch. It's hilarious because he like dives out of the way and then she gets down and then like it's like, okay. And then I think Chris Martin was like, well, if they're either cheating or like they're embarrassed, like they don't want to be on camera, or he said something funny like that. And oh boy. But anyway, everybody knew. The sad thing is that they have kids. Hey, Ann Reynolds, that they have kids, and you know, that is obviously frowned. I mean, you shouldn't cheat or whatever. But I mean, if you go in a public place, that's where you run the risk. That video is on Mob Crew. Thanks, Robini. But that is so funny, though, Brenda. Everybody is talking about it. And, you know, they were caught red-handed. But, oh, no, I did not see that. Oh, boy, Jules. Oh, and the wife. And, you know, I think they were both married. I think she had a husband, too. I think they were both married, and they were both at the Coldplay concert having fun until they weren't. It was like Cheaters, you know, that show. Little Miss Sharon says, Lady Freedom, I saw that video, picks the cat up and takes it inside, not running around playing tag with Sebastian. I know. I wish that was the case, right? But like even people, like people don't think it all the way through. And I mean, we talked about it, but I just don't understand how they're not thinking it through. Okay, so say it was these kids out in the and they were being mean, or they had a mean streak or something, or they thought it would be funny to push him over and he fell and hit his head, right? Let's just say that happened. Let's just play it out. All right. Well, what did they do with him then? So did they like drag him over to the construction zone and bury him under a bunch of stuff? Okay, yeah, maybe, possibly. But then as the, construction workers are doing other things, right? Sebastian would come up, right? And then these kids weren't out there digging a grave for, all night and then, going and helping the search. I mean, what happened to Sebastian from that point then? And how come none of that was on camera? How come we don't see anybody dragging somebody over? Have you ever carried 120 pounds? 113. We don't know. Sebastian was between 113 pounds and 120. They kept changing that shit also. So either way, was somebody being carried? No, they weren't. So again, it's just, I don't want to say, oh, well, you're stupid, because that's rude. And I don't believe that these people are stupid. I think that they're just not using their brains somehow. And then, making the next logical step in their theory would be what happened then, now what? Because even in my theory that we're going to start showing going over and showing the videos that we have of the lights at 3 a.m. That is important to me. These other ones are not important to me because I've watched them, I've analyzed them, I've looked them over. I'm not going to waste your guys' time with it, and not to say that Mob is wasting any time because he's actually helping me with a lot of the research, because when I'm looking at what he's doing, I can go back to the original video and then pinpoint what he's talking about, right? You can also enhance the video and show different things. Oh, that's cute. Kathy says we have a kitty named Tux in all black with a white spot on his chest too. How cute. I love cats. I love them. I'm going to get one of those Maine Coons like the one that I put in my photo. Brenda just saw the wife scrubbed her social. Oh, no. Oh, Lord. I'm sorry. I shouldn't have laughed at that, but I just thought it was so funny how he dives out of the way. Like, he dove out of the way, and then she, ducks on the floor. Like, I'm like, okay. I mean, they would have been better off if they would have just stood there and been like, they would have been better off. Oh, thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much, Jules. I'll look out for it, girl. Or text me if I don't respond back right away and be like, hey, I emailed you. Go check your email, you. Because I'm bad with that. Because it's just spam to hell. It's awful. I wish there was a way to brighten the 3 a.m. lights video so we could solve the case. There are ways to do it, GA64. There are. And, and that's the thing. It's absolutely frustrating to me that law enforcement refuses to do this. If I could sit here and do this with my cheap, crappy stuff that I have, and I'm not afraid to say, it. And then me just being a citizen, right? Just a regular person. If I could lighten the video and show more, then why can't they take their state-of-the-art technology and apply it? Because that's what's so frustrating to me. It's sick that they're not doing that. That why won't they? Oh, a little stress jacket on the Chihuahua, Kiki. How cute. Hey, Krista. Bobbie Marley. That's so cute. I have a black cat with a white spot leaf on her back. That's cute. And I just said spot because, I don't know what they're going to do. I don't know what they'll do. It's legal most places. A canine trained in apprehension is patrol. We call it PD1 certification. It combines obedience and apprehension for the certificate. Those are the ones that wear like the big, the person will wear like a suit and they'll put their arm out and the dog will be like, rah, and like really getting with it. And yeah, I've watched those videos before and learned a little bit. That's so cool, Jules. Thank you. We don't like saying my canine bites. We say my canine apprehends. That's hilarious. Oh my goodness. That's too good. He's like, he'll apprehend you, so be careful. Hindsight, Brenda, News 5 in April 2024. Nick Beer spoke on the conversation he had with the DA about what it would take for it to become a criminal investigation. That's what I saw, Hindsight. I knew it was you, but I didn't want to, say that until I was, okay, 100%. I remember watching that. And, as far as I'm concerned, if they did give polys out, then that's a criminal investigation. That's the only reason TBI does that, right? Unless they want to hire you. So if you're a new hire and a person, they're looking at you to hire you, then yeah. Thank you, Kiki. But which house lady? LOL. Just kidding. I know what you're saying, girl. I hear you. I know, and that's the heart. Hey, that stopped me in my tracks. You know it did. Thank you, Jules. Yes, and thank you guys for hitting the like button. I really appreciate you guys doing that. I really do. It helps. Hey, Holly S. And I see myself in the algorithm. I'm like, oh, yay. But then I see who I'm in the algorithm with, and I'm like, oh, shit. But thank you, nevertheless, for hitting that like button. Because when I'm like next to someone else and I'm going, ooh, that's not a... But that's okay. I'm grateful to be in it. Thank you, Holly S. We're happy to have you. You're always a great addition to chat and always have good things to say. I'm just I am so frustrated with the fact that people are blaming Miss Bobbie's kids, right? And I like Bobbie the neighbor. I don't think she's a bad gal, and I think that her children are very helpful kids. Like I said, because I just think, most kids would be like, oh, well, I'm going to go, do whatever, anything other than go out and help. Right. And so, I'm just curious, what is the motive? What does Steve Fisher think the motive is? Does he think that the boys lured Sebastian out? Because how would they do that if Sebastian's cell phone was sitting on the counter plugged in? He wasn't using it at the Texas Roadhouse. Whether he had it or not, maybe he did. I don't think he did. But he obviously wasn't using it there, so... Oh, I gotcha, Jules. I gotcha. Jules says, lady, you missed a few chats up before that one. I do that all the time, Jules. I'll kind of like be scrolling and yes, I was telling an SA officer that people are swearing I'm in trouble with the military or under investigation, and that's not true. Yeah, and I hate that for you, Jules, because I get so sick of it. It's crazy how people will come up with like the most off the wall things. Like it's absolutely weird. And I think it's to discredit, I do. I think it's to discredit anyone who has solid information or who actually wants to solve the case, right? Any of us that are solely trying to do that have been wrongly slandered, defamed, right? Because it's one thing if it's true, then it's not slander and it's not defamation. But Oop, looks like Django agrees. But it's a whole other thing if it's made up just because you don't like someone. Because I could do that too. I could be like, well, sorry, YouTuber, I'm just going to use you because I see you right here. Well, I don't like YouTuber because her comment, and she hangs out in this person's chat, and I just don't like her. I could do that all day. And I could also be like, YouTuber likes to run around and break people's car windows out. Did you guys know that? I mean, she's a real menace. Really? Just because I don't like her. I don't even know YouTuber like that, But I'm making things up about her. What's even worse is when they do it when you've actually earned certifications and you've put time in and you're serving our country. That is very frustrating and very wrong, in my opinion, for them to do that. And even when it comes to something minor like me earning my real estate license, they tried to say that I was impersonating a realtor. Impersonating a realtor. And they don't know what I went through to get that license. They don't know how much I paid to get that license. They don't know how many nights I sat up studying after being at work for 12 hours to get that license. It's really sick. And I mean, everything that you guys do in the military, I couldn't even begin to do that, right? I could read and pass a test. But physically and all of that, I mean, it's just insane to me. And again, it's like, what certifications do you have? That's what I want to ask people like that. You know what I mean? Yeah, that's crazy. And you know what it is too, is because they know that you have a lot of key answers and a lot of proof against Chris Proudfoot. I mean, of course, that's always, he's their guy. Like, that's the one that they're sticking up for, and if you don't, then, you're going to be defamed and harassed and possibly stalked. And, it's crazy. YouTuber says J64 Niecy Marie has posted a few videos where she says she uncovered more in the flashlight video. She's still working on them and going to send them to Mob and LE. Yeah. YouTuber Niecy Marie is another one that is doing very good research. And I applaud her efforts in the lights video because it really gets under their skin knowing that we're analyzing that video because they don't want us to. As a matter of fact, they want us to analyze every other video from the neighborhood that night besides that video. Why? I mean, really, why? I'd like to ask that to SF, and if he'd like to send his friends in here and they can tell me, or because if I think he's blocked. Actually, I know he's blocked. But send one of your little trolls in here and let me know why you don't want to look at that footage, but you're willing to look at all the other footage. I really want to know. And we'll let you mods I think it was Mike, if you want to come in, come on in. Come on down. Because someone looking for their cat in the neighborhood, and now there is audio. So I did see one piece of Mob's video, or it was a short or something. There's audio to the cat video, right? And flashlight child video, but he says it's very poor. He gave 2 examples. You can hear the cars going by fairly well, but it's almost like they're further away than they are, right? Because that's how poor the quality, sound quality is. And so you won't be able to hear probably a person. Now, keep in mind it's 10:17 at night. This kid is not a little kid, you know. He is old enough to know that you don't go screaming through the neighborhood that late at night, right? And so he was probably, you know, Fluffy or whatever, Socks, Boots, whatever the cat's name is, you know, Mr. Bigglesworth, where are you? You know, and he wasn't being loud, and, you know, you wouldn't be able to hear. Sorry, I dropped that link, guys. I don't know why it's so close. Hey, Seclusion Works, good to see you. Good to see you, sweetheart. I'm glad you're here. I'm off to see the grandbabies. Oh, good, Billy B. Thank you for being here. I'm so glad. Oh, you have a lovely day with your grandbabies. Watch me on the. Thank you for watching me on the replay. Ah, thank you. I will, Miss Billy B. I'm flawlessly myself. I'm not going to change. Thank you. You guys should email me some costume ideas. Oh my goodness. I want it to be funny though. I want to make you guys laugh, but then I also don't want you guys to know what I'm going to do. And I'll just come up here and do it. And then you guys are going to be like, oh, that crazy lady up there. Jill says seclusion, but if it's about military career, send me an email. I do not want to put anything else about my career out in chats because people, not you, other people do stupid stuff with the info. Yeah, Jules, and you don't deserve that at all. Oh my gosh. You know, and that's the thing too. I want to ask these other people that are doing stuff like that, would you like your livelihood taken? Because I'm telling you, they tried to shit on my YouTube channel, and I worked really, really hard to get to where I was. And they really put me back with like putting out all of these horrible statements about me and what they think that I am. And then I'm married to someone who would, you know, red rum some child, I think it was. I don't know. It was like the worst thing they could possibly make up. They did. Which is terrible, you know. It really is, and it even made me like more mad for the people in my life that they were trying to like mess with. But I couldn't imagine if I did have, you know, a job as a realtor and then I was doing this at nighttime or something like that, or, you know, morning shows, afternoon something, you know, fitting it into my schedule, and then all of a sudden people were trying to like get a hold of my job. Like that would be terrible. You know. It would just be terrible. And this is my livelihood. You know, I do this full time. I don't, but I don't know. On a deeper level, I don't know how long you've been, you know, in the military, but I'm going to guess you didn't just enlist. So, golly, they're just jerks. They're jerks. And, you know, I mean, we got to also remember these people don't have a lot of skills. So a lot of them wouldn't be able to get a job if, you know, their life depended on it, and that's sad. But then to go after somebody who has worked so hard, that's, you know, I'm sorry, but that's only a loser would do that. Like capital L loser would do that. Detroit Rock City says, Chris said, either way, they are shy or having an affair. That's right. Chris Martin. There's so many Chris's. I gotta remember. I'm like, oh, that Chris. Yes, they're either shy or having an affair. He called it, didn't he, though? Because that guy dove out of the way, Detroit. But I feel sorry for the kids and the wife. She didn't deserve that. I hope she slapped him. No, I'm just kidding. I shouldn't say that. I hope she slapped him in the face. Could you imagine having to walk? I mean, he might as well not come home after that. He probably went and got a hotel. I wouldn't come home after that one. I'd be like, K9 Joel says, no, I meant the CEO's wife put out a statement. Okay. See, I almost got confused. Sorry, guys. That's what happens when I get like, what am I, 15 minutes behind in chat. This is when I realize I'm 15 minutes behind in chat. I'm sorry. But the investigative skills is ridiculous. Intentional distraction, BS. I agree. I don't understand at all why they would want us to look at everything else but that one. Like, I want SF to analyze the lights video. Put that one out. Let's see. Oops, sorry. Let's see that one. That's the one I want to see. I don't want to see this crap with the cats and look at this little boy and he's so, you know, he's looking for his cat and hey, Sea Star and all of that, you know. He's launching a lawsuit against Coldplay. That is ridiculous. What? That's his own dang fault. Oh man. Oh. Well, I hope. And see, that is how some people's minds work. Like, if it was me, I'd be like, oh, well, it looks like I got caught. Like, but instead, he's like, oh, I'm going to sue this person because, like, it wasn't my fault for cheating or anything like that. It wasn't my fault that my dumbass went to a concert with a Jumbotron. I mean, they looked like a couple too. Like, they looked like, I mean, he would, like, a man would hold you from behind, like if you've ever been at a concert with somebody. It's it's not Coldplay's fault. Well, it's not even, it wouldn't even be their fault. I think he would have to go after the guy that was working the Jumbotron, right? Like the camera for the Jumbotron. Yeah, look over here, not over here, going back to the house. Yeah, I agree, Brenda. That's it. That's what they want us to look at. Like, don't look at that one, even though, and this is the thing where he gets upset too. Fish Sticks put this out, this photo, but he blurred over it, right? And so he like wanted us to think that, he was blurring the house for privacy, but what he was blurring was the fact that Katie's light was on in her bedroom at 3:06 a.m. And in my opinion, that was why he blurred it. It wasn't for the privacy of Katie's house. We know where they live. I mean, it is something, in my opinion, that they did try to hide to begin with, which is unfortunate, but they did, in my opinion. Oh, that is so ridiculous. Borna Honey says the guy caught cheating on the camera is threatening Coldplay for putting them on camera and out in the open. Invasion of privacy. What a tool. Yeah, really. It's not invasion of privacy when you're in public. It's like, you're out in public. That's like, I'm trying to think of a good example, but like, I mean, it would be like a sporting events, because that's what those are. Those are like kiss cams, right? Like, so they specifically look for couples, and then because usually couples are proud to be with each other, right? And then they'll like kiss each other or give each other a hug or something like that. I think sometimes people like propose on those things too. So the only people that would be upset about being shown on a kiss cam on the Jumbotron is somebody that's doing dirt. So maybe don't do dirt, or if you do and you get caught, maybe it's your own bad and not anybody else's. C-Star says there are a lot of threats right now, so I think that the bases are being extra careful, but that's just my opinion. Well, and I can see that being true too, C-Star. That's a really good point. Hey, CC, good to see you. Yeah, coward's response, for sure. I mean, hey, what about, I am so sorry that my wife had to see that and my kids have to see that. How's that one? Or I apologize to anybody that we hurt by doing this, because obviously other people are hurt. But see, that's the thing. There's so many people out there that will do the dirtiest shit. And instead of saying, I should have never did that, they'll blame it on somebody else. Show us the vehicle, LE. That information should have gone out with the Amber Alert, in my opinion. They never did put that information out, Brenda, and I agree with you. And I don't know why it is any other, because I even just posted, there's a little girl and her mom that are missing in California. And it's really, really sad. It's absolutely sad. But they did post, a vehicle, that way, the tag number. So that way, if anybody sees that tag number, they can call right away. Right. Because obviously this, even a lot of times if a little kid is in a car seat, you won't really see them, or whatever. Or hell, if the mother did anything to this little girl, maybe she's, you know, God, heaven forbid, in the car somewhere where you can't see her. So, oh no, I would do the same thing, Kiki. I do not like spiders. Hey, Polly's Cookies. Obviously, in my opinion, Ellie won't examine the lights video at all because they do not want the people involved to be exposed. I agree, Polly's Cookies, because they've really sat on this from the very beginning, right? And if the lights video is someone carrying something or doing something nefarious, you know, they're going to be in just as much hot water, right? I would imagine they would be. Yeah, people would want to know, why did you sit on this for so long? I know the 63rd Kennel Master. He's a tech sergeant. I'll have to ask him. Oh, cool. Cool. Thank you, Jules. Thank you. Oh, Kiki, let me check. I just thought it was neat to canine Jules at work while watching the raptors overhead. Ah. Oh, I see. Cece says, Jules, if you search a cemetery with a cadaver dog, will they hit on the dead buried in the cemetery? Oh, that's a great question, Cece. That's a really great question. Because I know they can smell like bones underwater, like ancient bones. I watched this documentary on it. They're starting it again with Bobbie's Kids, Holly S. Yes. Somebody sent me a screen grab and I was like, oh my gosh. No. And it's like, it's a bunch of the locals there that are saying it. That lady that sounds like she's got a VD, Crimson UA, urine analysis. I don't know what her name is, but she is a vile creature. She was trying to get my personal information. And she's also local. She's, you know, Crabtree, I think, was on that panel. Somebody else. Clue McNasty and Clitoris. CC, but if the body is there, will the dogs still hit on the embalmed bodies? That is such a good question. They are weirdos. And to blame Bobbie's Kids is like, what's the motive? Again, they don't give us any context. They don't say what happened next. So if you think it was Bobbie's Kids, what about it? Jewel says, yes, Cece, they can search in the cemeteries, but they're going to do the freshest source first, if that makes sense. Oh, that's perfect. Yeah, Jules, that makes sense to me. Because they wouldn't be looking. Yeah, they wouldn't. I absolutely understand. Thank you so much, because that's so helpful. Holly S., you think you'd at least impersonate a millionaire or something? Absolutely. I'd be like, I'm living large, and, you know, I would go stand outside of one of these big old mansions out here and be like, you know, this is my crib. Holly S. Yes. That's hilarious. I'd be like, I'm living large and in charge. I can just picture me right before. All of a sudden, Robin Leach comes out and he's like, the lifestyles of the rich and famous. GA64 says, well, you can thank the Lord Crystal Clear has minions. Yeah, he does. He does, GA64. I mean, a lot of them. Like, it's so weird. It's weird, and I don't understand it. And it's like, I pledge allegiance to Mr. Chris and his nasty crystal clearness. and to the Republic of Katie, because, you know, we're always trying to shield Katie, right? But she was the last one with Sebastian. So how can we not look at her? You know, because that's who I would look at no matter who it is. I'm not just singling her out. No, I would love to believe that it was some mean man that came in and took Sebastian, right? Would that make me feel good? Oh, hell no. He'd still be missing, but at least it wouldn't be his own mother. I mean, come on, you know? And that's it. 100%, a million bajillion percent SI officer. God forbid this happened to their child is all I'm going to say. I mean, it's just all we can say, right? Because none of us would want our child, especially because, you know, no good deed goes unrewarded or unpunished, or however you want to say it. You know, it's like they go out. Their father, Bobbie's husband, is military, by the way, and you know they probably have that spirit of helping and being of service, you know, and so that's why they were out there. It reminded me of a behavior offenders show against officers that actually do their job. Distraction and try to push buttons. Right, exactly. Yeah, because they're mad, and absolutely, yeah, it is reminiscent of that, Brenda. I agree. Yeah, really well said. Okay, and Joel says, Cece, they will still detect them. They were recently cadaver canines looking for 160-year-old graves of soldiers buried during the Civil War. Wow, that is so interesting. That is so cool. And, you know, the sniffers are amazing. Hey, perfectly imperfect boy mom. Happy Friday. Good to see you. I did a lot of running today too. Like not physically running, but like running around and shopping or whatever. YouTube or not, I'm doing good, and I'm anemic, and I'm fighting sleep right now. Aw, I know you miss your son so much, Miss Ann. I know. Well, oh, I'm so sorry to hear that. See, and Miss Ann, you're one of the people that I just know misses your son so much, and that's why the behavior of this mother is so odd to me, because it's just not normal. What you're going through is normal. I hope that you know that, and I hope that you know that you have friends here in the chat. So, Seclusion Work says, I think the military aren't paid enough for what they do. How about Congress take payouts and give it to military folks? Yeah, absolutely. I agree, Seclusion Works. And I also think that, you know, after the fact, that those skills need to be transferable. It's so hard. I agree. Thank you for that. Yeah, absolutely. That's where my mind was going to Detroit with that. We need to find out if that cemetery near CB's house is public or private property. Yeah, absolutely. I've heard both. I will say that, and I don't know definitively. Because if it's private, it'll be a little bit. Well, they would need a warrant. If it's public, they'd still need a warrant to like dig up, but you could always go over and kind of take a look. I mean, gosh, it's been so long. I don't know. Because I was going to say disturbed earth is, you know, disturbed earth, but yeah, it is really odd. Kiki says, SI officer, it's really odd that a child that had went missing had the same last name as someone important in the town, and they found them within hours. Yeah. It, you know, and we see that a lot, right, Kiki? It's like, it depends on who you know, which is sad, because it shouldn't be like that. Cece says dogs are the most fascinating creatures on earth. So smart and loyal. Thank you for answering, Jules. Yeah, I agree. Cece, they are. And they're just so loving, right? They just want to please us. That's the thing about dogs, for sure. That's actually going to make me get teary. Um, Seclusion Work says, and also I think whatever they're doing at these off-limit spaces, people need to leave them alone. Sooner or later, we'll see their work. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we have to trust. We have to trust the system, right? Um, oh, damn. Yeah, okay, that's a good point. Jules says seclusion. Well, technically, all military bases are off limits unless you work there or they are allowing visitors. Yeah, because I've been up to Great Lakes several times. You have to show your ID. You know, right? You can't get in there without, um, you know, showing proper ID and all of that. Robini said, so if Sebastian was in the cemetery with bodies 100 years old, the dog would go to Sebastian's first because he would be the most recently buried, allegedly. Basically, yes, yeah. That's what I'm thinking, Robini, because it would be the most, you know, recent. I don't know if anybody's taken dogs there to search Detroit. I'm not sure about that at all. Oh, good, Cece. I'm glad. I'm glad you're here. Melatonin is a good. Yeah, that is those are good solutions. YouTuber says Ann Reynolds, chronic insomniac, but sometimes melatonin, magnesium helps, or add a pinch, chamomile tea or warm milk. Yeah, absolutely, YouTuber. Some of the more natural remedy. I also like guided meditation, and it does. It obviously wouldn't work for everybody. I understand, but it's nice to listen to. Um, in my opinion, he's a nut, garden variety nut. Hell yes. Oh, you are? Oh my goodness. All right. You gotta let me know when that's going down. I'll be in there, Jules. I'll be in there. If you need a like even a wrench for the day, I'll do it. Yes. Oh, you made me a mod. Aw, thank you. Oh, I'm honored, Jules. Thank you. Oh my goodness. Oh, that's amazing. See, I had to make sure I modded you too, but I wanted to make sure it was you every time and not somebody coming and saying it was somebody else. Right? Well, this is Jules, I'm Jules over here, and oh gosh. Because people like to do that. It's weird, but they do it. The law is you're not entitled to privacy in the public. Show poodles. And I just think that like it nothing good comes from it. I mean, it doesn't, especially if you're out there. Ooh, that's going to be so good. Putting out most of the audio from my call with CP that hasn't been released yet. Ooh, that's going to be a good one. I'm excited because and now this is anybody. I'm not saying Chris is weird because of this. I'm just saying that this would be how most of us would probably act. But if you're on with Nancy Grace, you're probably on your best behavior. If you're on the phone with or if you're on a panel, on one of the Krama channels, you're probably going to be on your worst behavior, right? So I mean, it's like we've seen a spectrum from Chris's spectrum, and and then he's probably thinking, you're pretty close up there with someone who knows investigating skills and has the investigative skills, and so I'm so curious because I can see him with you being up there even in the bit that we played, it was like he was trying to convince you because, you know, he wants you to believe what he's saying. And oh, it's good. That'll be good. He literally played Coldplay for his privacy. Oh, that's so crazy. Born a Honey, they were. Oh my, and they were both like, if I can recall, they looked like they were like, da, 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 not a care in the world until he dive bombed. Oh Lord, Born a Honeys. They were holding each other like they were on the front of the Titanic. Oh Lord, they were too. Oh my gosh, it's times like these where I wish I could just sing and break out in song because that'd be hilarious. No privacy while in public. Oh. But I have never been to a concert that did the kiss cam only like basketball event or something, or like, I'm trying to think. I don't think hockey does that. No, they don't do that. I've been to a few hockey games, like oh my gosh, but no. Oh my goodness. That's hilarious. Oh my gosh. Philly, the Philly Fantonic. Fantonic literally made fun of them the next day at the Phillies game on the Jumbotron. They would have, oh, I'm sorry, I'm dying over here. They would have been better off if they would have just stayed still. But he dives out of the way. Oh my Lord. I never seen somebody do that so fast in my life. I've never seen that. CC lesson: never do things to shame your family. Coldplay kiss cam fools. Oh my God. That's so bad. That is so bad. Yep, we were on elevated threat con mostly because of what's going on overseas now. Yes, yes. Oh, that's great, K9. Looking forward to being there. Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, and I'll share the link too when I see it. Brenda says, I think the CEO was more mad about Coldplay's social media gal. Put the video out. Oh, she put the video out to the masses, but in my opinion, serves him right. Yeah. I mean, like I said, I personally wouldn't be mad at anybody but myself, but that's just me. A couple of minutes. Oh, you know what? Let me see, Kiki. Thank you for reminding me. Hold on. Let's see here. I did get a super chat. Oh, you know what? Did I put this one up here? Hold on, Cece. Or I'm not Kiki. Yeah, this one. Thank you so much, Kiki, for the super chat. And she says, but which house, lady? I know. Well, you know, it's strange, right? It's strange because of the way that those pictures and the way that the porch was situated in the pictures. Ellie is ignoring this case is going to cause even bigger issues for innocent people. I agree, Holly S. And I think that some of it has to do with them being involved in some capacity, but I haven't been able to connect all of the dots just yet. But there's something just really odd about how it was handled to begin with. And, you know, at first it was kind of ominous when he's like, I can't believe how the parents must be feeling, or I, can't imagine what the parents might be feeling right now or whatever. And, now that we look back, it's like, why was he so focused on how the parents feel, and not about how Sebastian feels? Yeah, YouTuber, they're doubling down on trying to discredit Bobbie and anyone that has exposed CP's real character, in my opinion. Yeah, it's odd. It's really, really odd because, I really have it on strong opinion that a lot of these people were absolutely playing both sides from the very beginning. And, they were getting information and recording phone calls and all of this stuff from the very beginning. Um, because they wanted to get information. And, I'm not saying that that is right or wrong. It depends on what state you live in, absolutely, because some states have it to where you can't record someone without their knowledge. Some states have it to where you can record someone without their knowledge. So it just depends on where they're at, you know. So, thank you, Polly's Cookies. Thank you so much. That's so sweet of you. Um, I wish Bobbie would talk again too, but here's the thing, Kiki. You know, I just don't think she trusts anybody, and it's something that comes along with the territory on YouTube, unfortunately. Um, you really have to be careful when talking with people, and if I'm not mistaken, I believe Tennessee is one of those states where you can record somebody without their knowledge. So you have to be so careful, because if in a conversation where you think it's just two people, this other person has an agenda that is for ill intent, and they're just trying to catch you up or find one aha moment that they could run back, and that's what it's about. And I feel sorry for Bobbie, because I feel like she was gracious enough to come out, to show her face on camera, to do an interview that lasted like 2.5 hours, I think it was. It's a really long interview. And I have a piece of that from Hindsight today, and I'm going to play it here. But it's like, that wasn't good enough for everybody, right? They needed to get her on the horn and record her without her knowledge. What a bunch of shit bums. Like, I'm sorry, you people are real dirt bags. I mean, dirt bags, right? Because that's so wrong to do to her. Hey, Juicy Jules. Yeah, and all these spirit box people that's where you lose me with the spirit box. And I'm not trying to, I understand people have gifts. I do. But it's going way too far. Like, you wouldn't want somebody, if it was your kid, to be like, oh, Sebastian, oh, he's talking to me and he told me this. Like, you wouldn't want your kid up there, like that. So why are you doing that to Sebastian? Like, that's one of the creators that really upset me, is the ones that are doing that, because it's awful. And I would never want that. I would never want to hear, like, my kid, oh, she's telling me she's here. I mean, come on. Like, who would want that? Those people are gross. Yeah, well, that's the sad part. Brenda says it's a strategy, and the minions would do anything for a buck or a sense of belonging, in my opinion. Yeah, it's really, really sad. It's really, really sad. And that's exactly what it is. Very well said. They want that sense of belonging. They want to feel like they're in with the in crowd. I even watched, somebody sent me this clip, and I felt so bad for the creator they were hating on, until the creator that was making a hateful video, and it was supposed to be something like she was going to go to hell for, and like, oh my God, this is like the worst thing ever, right? And like, you're going to get me in so much trouble, she says to UA Crimson, because she's trying to gain her admiration and her, she's trying to get, on her side. And so she puts this video up about a creator. This creator, like, is a very small creator. She's building her channel, under 100 subscribers. And this other person that has over 3,000 subscribers is targeting a person with 100 subscribers. First of all, just that shows what kind of a person you are. And then she's not only doing that, but she's on a panel with somebody who has 20,000 subscribers. So that's pretty shitty. Like, and you have to really feel bad about your own self to do something like that, right? So I'm sitting there going, oh, this is really messed up, right? Because somebody just sent me this. It was like a screen recording, right? And so this was supposed to be a burn, right? Like, this creator, Earth, was supposed to, like, burn, this other creator that has 100 people only, like, really, really bad. And she's laughing and she's ha ha ha. And she's like, it's a maniacal, sinister laugh. Like, she's really going to get this person, right? And then she plays her creation, her song that she made, and no one laughs in the chat. It's actually not bad. And I thought it was a cute song, actually. But when UA hears it, she's like, well, that's the nicest thing that I think anybody has ever said to her. And another person in the chat just puts like a little, like a little face, like they're disappointed, right? Whatever, disappointed. And it's hilarious because they're trying to do this awful thing to this other person, but yet they're not getting what they wanted. And they're even shaming her for not being as mean as they expected her to be. It just really goes to show what's happening here. And exactly what you just said, Brenda, the strategy. And the minions would do anything for a buck or sense of belonging. Anything. And do you know what that other creator did, Earth? She just dropped off the panel because she was so embarrassed that she wasn't mean enough for the mean girls. Wow. Wow. Find new friends, please. Because if you think that these people are not going to do the same thing to you, girl, you seem like you have at least a decent heart. At least a somewhat decent. But because, what you created wasn't mean enough for those shitheads. I mean, in my opinion, that's terrible. Terrible. So with that spirit, let's play this clip. Because they'll go after anybody, even kids.
The question is, what are they doing with whatever evidence they collected? And what are they doing with the surveillance cameras? Because what I'm told that neighbors saw, they're denying.
They're denying?
Yes.
Wow. Why is that?
Exactly. If they found anything, what they did with it, why are they trying to act like the camera, the footage, did they find anything on the footage? From what I'm being told from my neighbors that saw stuff on the footage, and I asked them and they want to deny it, they want to argue with me. Why?
That's interesting. Yeah, they have a responsibility. I mean, if one of their theories is Sebastian got kidnapped, and they never said Sebastian was kidnapped.
But there was there were no cars that came up their street and then left up their street and left. The only car that was ever seen was the one that was on Kellen, that parked on the corner of Stafford and Kellen for about 3 or 5 minutes, where the flashlights came towards it, backed up and left. And then the trash truck, and then Katie's SUV, and then the police, or then the school bus, and then the police. So there was no other car that ever drove up Stafford.
What type of vehicle was it?
I don't know. I don't remember. It just, the words that where I was told was unidentified car. I don't know if it was an SUV or a car or what. That was just what I was told. It was an unidentified car.
Okay, guys. So that was my contribution. that was my contribution to Hindsight's clip there. You know, really just a nice, concise clip, just kind of saying, hey, look, this is what happened in the neighborhood, you know. And Bobbie came out. She did. She showed herself. Like, it's not like she hid behind an avatar. She didn't, you know, make some kind of a, you know, weird avatar and hide behind it. She came out and she was like, hey, I'm Bobbie the neighbor. I've lived here forever, right? She's OG neighbor. And her kids went out to help that morning. And she really gave us a lot of good details about a timeline. Bobbie's personality, in my opinion, is a humble, kind person, right? I don't see her being someone who is the town gossip. I know that that's the way that she's been portrayed, but I don't believe that that's true. I think Bobbie just lives in the neighborhood. Now, I do think it's odd that Bobbie doesn't want the posters out and everything, but I'm going to tell you this. When I first started, and I should have probably pulled this in to begin with, but I did research on why it's important to hang missing people's flyers, and then I even like tried to figure out, well, what was the first missing flyer that came out, right? And I talked about how in the very beginning, people were putting missing people or children's faces on the milk cartons, right? And a lot of you guys will remember that. One of the articles that I read, the author was very, I'm going to say, against these flyers and billboards and different things like that, and on the milk cartons as well, because they said that it's, you know, too grim of a subject, it's depressing, you know. And I mean, I can't disagree on that, but I think that, again, and this is what I feel like with Bobbie's statement, that if it was her children, she would want them out there and she would want people to remember that they're still missing if they were. And so my big takeaway from that article is that not everybody feels like I do or like you all do about spreading that type of awareness. People are always going to have differences of opinion. Some of the points that were made were really good points. Again, I can't argue with the fact that it's very depressing and sad when I see a beautiful child like Sebastian and his photo, it says missing under it. It's heartbreaking. It makes me want to share it. It makes me want to find out what happened to him. Some people don't have that. It doesn't have that effect on some people. Some people absolutely don't want to look at it. It's like, it's too grotesque, right? It's like they don't want to think about their kids being missing. They don't want to think about any of it. You know, they just want to go about their life. And I do understand that. So I'm really, really grateful that we have so many wonderful people here and in this true crime community that want to spread the awareness, right? And, you know, just like we have that kind of spirit and we want to spread awareness and find out what happened, we have the other people who don't give a damn, and, you know, they're just krama, right? It's just krama to them. So it's like they just want to insert themselves in and make themselves look important when really they're not. They're just causing trouble. They're the troublemakers that have latched onto true crime. And it's absolutely sad. But one thing that I do know for sure is that good will always prevail over evil, because the Lord is mightier than the devil. in my opinion. And so I'm not terribly worried about these people, especially when, you know, I've already made sure that I put the stop to them bullying me. So I would just urge anybody that's dealing with these bullies to document everything and to make sure you get it over to law enforcement and the proper authorities. So what that looks like, if you are living in, say, Florida, and this person that is stalking and harassing you lives in Tennessee or Tennessee, California, West Virginia, or even say Louisiana. You get all of that information, and then you contact the Cyberstalking division of the FBI, and you make sure that they understand that. Now, if they live in the same state as you, that's when you can make a claim with your local law enforcement and your state level FBI, right? Like they have the TBI, like they have, you know, for us, I guess it would be Florida Bureau. Like, I don't know, but I can get those resources together for you all also, because I think that that's where it needs to start. You know, I was told that I was the first one who ever took matters to court on YouTube, you know, like that. And I'm proud to say that I won, and that they're not able to come and stalk me at my house and act like this. You know, they're always going to send people to do that, you know, but that's where the documentation comes in handy, because you can show that it's a continued effort by these particular people. And, you know, even to a girl who loves frogs, you know, email me. And if you need my help, I'm here for you, because the same people that are doing this to you, some of them are the same people that are already, you know, being looked at by the Cyberstalking division for doing it to me. So I wanted to put that out there, because I don't like when people get bullied, you know. Jesus was slam dunking. Jules. You know it. It's hilarious, you know. It's great. And I mean, I found that today, and I was like, this has gotta go in here. Oh, sorry, I just spit. That's so funny. I was like, we got this, right? Yeah, well, that's the thing. Sometimes we don't know, and you know, I get that. I totally get that. And I understand why somebody would record a phone call, so that way they have the information again, right? Like, so if I'm talking to someone, I was going to record them, it would mostly be for me to be able to go back and listen to it again, especially if I was talking to someone. Like, for instance, I never had to do this with Jana, because Jana like gave me all of the information that I needed, and I worked off of that, and then I had time to actually go and do more research independently than I would have if she didn't give me that information. So, but I was able to do that in her case, and you know, unlike with Sebastian's case, I have to do a lot of the research, you know, independently. But of course, people who send me stuff, I appreciate you for sending it to me. But with that being said, you know, if I was to speak with her and do an interview with her on the phone, I would ask her if it's okay if we record, just so I wasn't missing anything, you know. But she had given me so much detail that all I had to do was go back to, you know, the place where I was looking at the information and pull it up from there. And then if I had a question for her, I would text her. And so, you know, but I can see where that would be needed and helpful. SI officer says there's a lot at stake, but they really thought they were going to get away with the crimes, but they are organized crime, allegedly, my opinion. But that's not how it goes. And you do crime, if you do the time, if you do the crime, you do the time. Excuse me. Yeah. So absolutely, SI officer. And let the punishment fit the crime. Let the punishment fit the crime, as Chris would say. You're gonna need a punishment for this. Oh. Hold on. Sorry, guys. Let me look and see. Please be respectful in the chat. Please, if you have an opinion, you can share it. But please be respectful and give a reason why you feel that way. Because I know, Marlena, you like to come in here and you like to say rude things, but you don't have anything to back it up, sweetheart, and we can't have that in here. Joel says, anyone who sees a bunch of cops cars outside their neighbor's house is going to want to know what's going on. Amen. I mean, girl, you expect it. You expect it. You're like, people are going to be looking out their window. They're going to be trying to figure out what's going on. But that's a good thing. Because, we were talking about that the other day, how, people used to be of the, mindset, like, mind your own business and stuff like that, But, and again, I agree. Some things are just not other people's business. And it is something to just, kind of don't be so nosy, right? But, in the same way, you wouldn't want to think that maybe because you didn't make a call that your neighbor is not here anymore, right? You don't want that on you. And so people started saying see something, say something, so. But you're right. They're going to do that. They're going to be like, what's going on, Brenda Calvert says, and Bobbie said she didn't know what kind of car, so she doesn't embellish. She's very believable, in my opinion. I agree, Brenda, because she could have. And, maybe she was trying to keep that close because law enforcement didn't let it out either. But, yeah, you're absolutely right. I don't think that Bobbie was being dishonest. If she said something that was inaccurate, now that's a little bit different, because there's always everybody's different perspective, right? And perception. At the same time, it's up to the eyes of the interpreter, right? So they're going to interpret things differently. We all would. And it would be very stressful to know that there was a kid in the neighborhood that went missing. So in the stressful situation, that makes it even more so, even more so. So you're not going to pick up on everything because your heart might be racing, or your mind might be going a million miles a minute. You're thinking, where could this child be? All of these things. Is there someone in the neighborhood snatching up kids? Things like that are going to be running through your mind while you're interpreting all of this information. I know it was being said that it's odd that Bobbie wants to know about the cameras in the neighborhood, but I would be one of those people that would be interested in that too. But the people that are saying this are people that don't want attention brought to the surveillance footage in the neighborhood. Why is that? Why do you care so much? And why do you not want us to look at one set of footage, but you want us to focus on another? I mean, do they think that we're that stupid? I think they might. I believe Bobbie too. Yeah, Kiki, I do. I believe her too. Absolutely. Hey, Michelle. So, yeah, I believe her. And I think, if she had got up there with an avatar, or she was kind of, flighty or a little bit flaky, I'd be like, well, maybe I believe 20% of what she's saying, or maybe I believe 50%. Maybe it's a 50-50 shot of she might be telling the truth, she might not be. But I think she was very candid. I think that she was very forthright. And I don't think that she has a dog in the fight. And that's what they're trying to say now, is that she has a dog in the fight, like her own kids, like literally one of them running in, you know, one of them fighting, right? Because if you're blaming my kid, you know, that's the dog in the fight, right? My kid is in the fight with me, you know, for lack of a better way to say it. But I mean, it's just so they're alleging that. And they're saying, don't look at the flashlight video, right? That footage is garbage. This is golden right here. But again, they don't give us any good reasons to back it up. You know, oh, hey, Seth, good to see you, hon. Thanks for being here. I hope you're doing well. Nice to have you, Seth. Okay, so SA officer says, does anyone remember hearing Mrs. B had visited a neighbor to talk with them around the time they were taking the video footage from the neighbors? You know, I do remember that, and I did hear that, SA officer. See, those are the ones that have the motive, in my opinion. And I know that we've kind of talked about this, but it's like, okay, I think that, you know, there was a snowball effect, right, of a bunch of things that were happening. And, you know, it was very obvious, right, that there was turmoil in the marriage. Because if Sebastian was the main issue, which I don't believe that he was at all, and I wish they'd stop blaming him. But if he was the main issue, then why was Chris gone even when Sebastian was over with Seth at his, you know, at his dad's house for the weekend? If it was truly something that was just between Chris and Sebastian, then Chris would have been visiting on the weekends that Sebastian wasn't there. But because he wasn't, then that leads me to believe that there were deeper issues between Katie and Chris. Now, it's also been alleged that there was an ultimatum. This ultimatum really bothers me. When Chris says it's either him or me, and he's talking about not another man, but her own son to Katie, and gives her this ultimatum. That sticks with me. That makes me think that Chris was punishing Katie more so by not coming home and saying, I told you it's either him or me. And now, of course, I don't know for sure. I don't. But this is kind of from what I've gathered, right? And if Mrs. B was walking around the neighborhood, visiting the neighbors, what was she putting in their heads? You know, what was the reason she was there? You know? Cruella, yeah, why was Cruella in the neighborhood? You know? Aw, twists and turns, that's sweet. You know? Don't even get me started on Cruella, Jules. Jules, me too. You know, I'm like, please, I don't want to really talk about somebody's mama, but we don't have a choice, do we? And the thing is that Mrs. B isn't a nice person. We know that, right? She's a tough person to deal with, right? She's not like a nice lady that, you know, is misunderstood. She's the type of lady that says, you know, I'll see you in hell. I mean, wow. And that's another thing that I've seen really, really bad on these streets is like people saying like some very anti-Christian rhetoric. And, you know, I get it. Not everybody believes in the same things. And I understand that. Whatever higher power a person has that's a special thing for themselves, in my opinion. But I just have seen a lot of that. Like, we're going to hell. And I'm like, ew. That's disgusting. And quit cackling like a damn witch and being proud of it. Like, it's gross. So no, I think Mrs. B is a mean person. I think she's absolutely taken just like she portrays herself. You know, she's not afraid to be like, you know, um, Cruella. You know, she's not. Yeah, yeah. It's always these. It's always them, Robini. You know, it's always them trying to insert themselves into it, so they seem like they're, um, special or something. But it's like you're not even inserting yourself in a good way. You're hindering things. SI officer says, Canine, this whole damn case gets me worked up. I'm so pissed for Sebastian and Seth. Yeah. Yeah, I feel that, SI officer. And it's because of all of the extra stuff too that it's like over and over and over and over and over again. And, going after someone that only has 100 subscribers because they're talking about Sebastian. My Lord. SI officer says this is just too many contributing factors leading up to the motive. I could name a list. Right. Yeah. You could make a whole list of these things. And, and that's the thing. I mean, it's just the series of events are not good, right? It's all the elements of a criminal investigation, right? We have CPS. We have a stepfather that, is very vocal about not liking his own stepson. We have a mother who is okay with this child being disparaged publicly on many different platforms. And also she doesn't want to talk. And when she does talk, she really messes up. And so they don't let her talk. And allegedly she has a lawyer now. So, she's only going to do probably the bigger shows when it's an anniversary, Hey, Ann Brock, good to see you. And so it's so frustrating, and it's like, why? For what? Because there has to be a motive for all of that too. And in my opinion, it's because they don't want Chris and Katie to be looked at like they should. And more so Katie than Chris. And to be honest with you, I don't like Chris more than I don't like Katie, but she was the last one with him. Sebastian, excuse me. She's the last one with him. Yeah, the Stink Feet, twist and turns. The Stink Feet group is a disgrace to the human race, in my opinion. Yeah, the Foot Clan. And they're always, gathering new members. I remember that on the Ninja Turtles. They're like gathering new members all the time. The people, April O'Neil reporting, they're getting bigger. They are. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. And they don't have anything to back up the things that they're saying. And they get really upset at those who are trying to find out what happened to Sebastian when they do. Like Chris from Mob Crew, for example. SI officer says, regardless, shame on them to bully a child to make a choice like that and to do such a horrible thing, in my opinion. I agree. Yeah, really well said. Shame on them. And it is shameful. But you know what? They're not ashamed of that, SI officer. They're ashamed that they weren't mean enough for the mean girls. And that's what embarrasses them the most. But what should really embarrass them is the fact that they are contributing to hindering an investigation. Cruella de Vil. SI officers, absolutely disgusting, and they will not get away with it. No, they're not going to, and that's why they're so upset, right? That's why they're like, show this footage, everybody, all these people, if you better do it. It's part of your initiation, and if we see you being, not as mean as we think that you should have been, well, we're going to shame you. We're going to make you look dumb. Hindsight says anything that was ignored or debunked needs to be revisited, in my opinion. I agree with that. Hindsight. And, you know, I might not have said that, you know, a week ago, but with everything that's coming out, I think we do need to revisit these things, because they're so quick to debunk one thing and so quick to make us focus on another. And the things that they want us to focus on are not things that, in my opinion, are even relevant. But I agree. And your live was very eye-opening to me. Yours with Voices of Truth with Mama Marissa and BMW Coupe, because it's these little things that if we take the time to piece together, it can bring in a clearer picture. And the green hoodie is definitely on my top list of people to be focusing on, even though law enforcement said that they didn't have anything to do with it, you know. And I made a silly video, was it me? Well, I don't know about that. Because it still stinks. You know, it still stinks. Robbie says maybe she was trying to find footage of hoodie guy running through the yards. Yeah, and you know, here's my thing. I'm not convinced that the Proud Feet would have done this on their own, right? I'm thinking they might have paid somebody to do it, or, you know, had volunteers. Because, I mean, look at how many people showed up for Nina, and all they were doing was handing Faith back to her and giving her her child back, you know, but they're right there on her. Yeah, Vic, that's true. If you really love someone who says me or your child, what a shit, yeah, bag those two are. Yeah, absolutely. I agree. Because I wouldn't have to think. I would just say, I'm sorry, this isn't working. This is not working. You know, it wouldn't be a thought in my mind, you know. Cruella DeVille, please take a pill. Twists and turns, that's a good one. Yeah, SI officer says absolutely, and it will in time and rather soon, because we are all getting tired of the silence. And that's what it's going to take. I mean, it doesn't matter how many are out there trying to do bad. The small amount of people, which I don't find, again, to be very small. I think that's something that they want us to believe. I think that's an intimidation. I think that's something that they want to say that, oh, we're bigger than you are. We have more people and da-da-da. Okay, fine. That's fine with me. But the people who are actually working on Sebastian's case are going above and beyond, and we're showing things. We're giving reasons why we believe this. We're not just going up there and saying, oh, I'm going to make fun of this person. That's all they have. That's all they have, is to make fun of other people. They're not making any valid points. They're not coming up with any theories. They don't care. They don't give a shit. They don't. What they care about is trying to bully someone into being silent. What they care about is trying to intimidate people into being silent. They're trying to discredit anyone who comes out and tries to speak what their experience has been, because they don't want that, because they're scared. They don't want that because they're scared. And it's human nature, and it's part of the way that we are put together. It's the part of the way our brains work. We're always trying to survive. And so for them, when they feel that fear, they go into defense mode. They're scared because we're coming out with facts. We're showing what we believe to be true. And they're just going up there with no receipts and just blabbing away, making fun of other people. You know, that's how they spend their time. Hindsight says all trust has been lost on our end for anyone but God. And that's it. You know, you can't trust anyone. It's sad. It's really, really sad. But yeah, you know, I do the same thing. Hindsight, I will pray about it, right? I will sit there and think about it and ask for clarity. And it's amazing when you block out everything, how clear things can become. Jules says, talking about jewelry when Sebastian was missing, fuck's sake. Yeah. I know. And I can't believe I can't believe it, right? Somebody in the chat said maybe that could have been part of the payment for what was to happen, right? Like, you know, Chris is going to buy me some new jewelry. He said he'll buy me some new jewelry if I help with this, right? And so she's bragging, but she's not saying that. She's just saying that Chris owes her jewelry. And I thought, wow, that's a really stellar observation, you know, because I just thought she was a bitch, you know, I just thought she was like a hoity-toity, like, oh, look at me and my name, all this, and, you know, I don't wear anything but real jewelry and da da da, you know, and I mean, you know, those types of people, they love to brag about their money, that's how they show their worth, right? Because they don't really have anything else to offer besides the fact that they, you know, have money. So, and that's how they get things done. They don't care about anything else. Yeah, really bad. I mean, like Kiki to the point where she's like, stop putting Bible verses in my chat and my comments. It's like, well, maybe she's trying to pray for you because your evil self. I mean, that's evil. You think you're doing good when you do stuff like that? Maybe she felt bad for you. I certainly do. I mean, you got booed off stage by your own peeps. You know, because you weren't mean enough. It wasn't because you didn't make a cute song and a good video. It's because you weren't mean enough by your own peeps. Any religion doesn't need to be mocked. Exactly, Kiki. Exactly. It's disrespectful because you wouldn't want somebody to, you know, take a dump all over your beliefs. So why would you do that to somebody else? It's wrong. You know? Plus, I mean, I don't know. As the officer says, I'm done with the corruption, with the silence, and the crickets, the evil. Yeah, and that's it. I mean, at the end of the day, it weighs heavy because people who have done their research, people who have been looking into these things and making sure that they're covering all their bases. Like, I know a lot of you who are doing research are of the mindset of, I don't care if I'm right. I just want to find out what happens, right? And the truth matters. And so I'm going to follow the facts. And a lot of the facts go right back to the corruption, you know, and I've tried to bounce back and forth between those things, but I'm always guided back to corruption and why people are silent about, like you said, crickets, about a kid who's missing. K9 Captain Jules says, how about she makes another Facebook post telling me that going to her property would be unwise? Yeah, I remember that too. And look, like, if you wanted your grandson to be found, step grandson, you know, respectively, then why would you be so defensive against someone who could help, like Jules? You know, why would you be oppositional towards Jules? You know, why would you push someone away that could help? It's because you don't really want him to be found, but you don't really want people to look at you. So you, again, go on the defense and say, oh, that would be unwise. Well, why is that exactly? You know, because that sounds like a threat. And they love to threaten other people too. That's something that has happened throughout, you know. So if you're not ridiculed and slandered and defamed, you will be threatened, bullied, you know, all of it. Um, it's there's no place for it in this case. She would. Michelle, something tells me she would enjoy that. Something tells me that she would enjoy it. You know, I think it needs to be reinvestigated also, Detroit. I mean, all of it. Go back to square one, you know, double-mindedness. Yeah. Well, and if you don't think like the other person, then they get upset with you, right? But it's like, it doesn't really need to even be that way. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, Vic and her other, yeah. Don't forget her other human offspring, another piece of crap in my opinion. Yeah, Melissa's not a nice person, right? I mean, she's obviously not. We saw what she did to Sebastian. I mean, you know, I don't have the video offhand, but I do know that I have that. Does he look like he's having a good time at his birthday? Or does he look like maybe somebody has gotten him very upset at his birthday party? You guys are okay with that? I'm not. I'm not going to sit by and let that happen. Yeah, it's their MO, Seth. You know, totally. Totally. That's what they're trying. That's the name of the game, right? Like they're going to they're relentless with it too. You know. And they're not good at it, but they think they are, you know, because there's nothing funny about it. There's nothing funny about it. Everything else needs to be revisited. Yeah, I mean, and even like with the Only Hands interview, you know, we can kind of see the progression of Katie and Chris's story. If we go back to, you know, what they said on Duchess, what they say to Holly Thompson, what they say to Caitlin Miller. Caitlin Miller's facial expressions during that was like, I was like, why haven't I, you know, reviewed this one more? And there's so much to be said in there by just the way that she is looking at them as they're answering her is really important, in my opinion, to see that. I mean, she's not buying their story. She's like, these people, and she's trying to say, well, if you did, let's just say that if you did search for Sebastian, where would you search for him, right? But they never tell her that. They never say, you know, well, he likes to do these things, and so he might be here, because that's what she was really asking. She wasn't saying, you know, are you guys searching? And she wasn't trying to be underhanded. She was really asking, like, if we could help you, or if the public is searching places, where should they search? And again, it was like, they searched here, they searched there, and it's like, no, Chris, that's not what she's asking you guys. She's asking you for places that Sebastian might be, you know, but instead they're like, whoa, everybody's bashing us. Well, no, they're not. They're really not, until you come up there and talk about how you hit Sebastian with the belt. Then people were pissed. Oh, you like to throw out his toys on him, or make him throw his own toys out and take him to the street. That's what you said. Take him to the street. You know, that's not nice, and nobody liked that. And then you didn't stop there. You went on Cluminati and made a fool of yourself, talking like a sling blade. Talking like Sling Blade. Detroit says they need to take them in and let them sit in a jail cell until someone flips. What are they not charged with, or why are they not charged with abuse and neglect? At least that. Well, and that's a really good question, Detroit, because, you know, in the beginning I was thinking, hey, maybe they are keeping quiet because they want to, you know, charge them with this on top of whatever they've gathered. But I don't think so anymore. I don't. And I don't know why they don't just put them in the cells, like you said. Because if mommy can't have access to them, and they can't have access to mommy, and mommy's also being questioned, you know, but I have a feeling they'd say, we're going to sue you if you, you know, I mean, they probably have said that. The hall monitor, nice to see you. K9 Jules, I find it weird, but also funny that you, Mob Crew, and Laura Ledge trigger SF. It's like he can't help himself. Y'all trigger him. Yeah, hall monitor, good call. I mean, it's because they know that Jules has information on Chris, right? They know that Mob Crew has information directly from the neighbors and that he is really, really good at presenting. And the Lore Lodge, I think it's just funny as hell because they're young kids and they schooled him. They schooled him. And he should be embarrassed on all fronts, you know? Yeah, Seth says, Detroit, I've asked the same thing many times. And you shouldn't have to. You should never have to do that, Seth. And that's the problem. That's the problem. Because, I mean, they would just hate me. They would see me coming and they'd probably duck like the guy on the Jumbotron when I come. You know, because... Hindsight says, I agree, lady, that green hoodie and the yellow coat make 1 and 2 on my list, along with the 3 a.m. car. Everything else comes after. Yeah, I can't help but focus there. And really, nowadays, I'm like thinking that's the main focus because that's where they don't want us to look, right? They just don't want us to look. And even, you know, Dr. Gary, he said, you know, when somebody tells me not to look, it makes me want to look more. And I'm the same way. And I know a lot of us are like that, you know, because it's like, what don't they want us to see? You know, what don't they want us to see? SI officer says someone ran through the yard days prior as well. I think that was a setup in motion to call into police, make it seem like someone was being suspicious, in my opinion. They were checking camera placement. Oh, SI officer, bingo. Yeah. Yeah, because it was alleged that somebody was running through the yards. Yeah, and like hiding right behind a car. Yeah, I can see that. Trying to figure out camera placement. Because it would be really hard. Like one of the houses has 7 cameras. 7 cameras. So yeah, they could have been definitely checking that out, you know? Thank you, little Miss Sharon. Kiki, I was the same way when I first was a mod. I didn't know how to even drop my own channel. Michelle says, in my opinion, they had more than just helping pull this off. Too many things to do to make it all go off as planned. I agree, Michelle. Absolutely. Because they're trying to cover their own behinds, right? Because neither one of them was at work or anywhere on camera like Seth was, right? So they didn't have that. So they had to make sure. That's why I'm not convinced that they didn't both stay in the same, you know, Chris being in Memphis, Katie being in Hendersonville. And I think the 2.5 hour phone call, if it did happen, I know that a lot of people don't know for sure if it did or not. I think it probably did, in my opinion. And the reason I think that is because it was one of the first things that they made sure that they let us know, right? Chris was out of town at the time, but we were on a phone call together. And I think that's so that they could build an alibi. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, he did on Yes Hall Monitor. Did Chris say dogs were only 25% accurate? He did say that on Web Sleuths. Yes, he did. And I was like, I don't believe that for a second. Yeah. Yeah. Jules. Yeah, he did. Do not get me started. Oh, I mean, it's just, and that's the thing too. Discredit the dogs, discredit this, discredit that, but he's the one that's not credible at all, in my opinion. Hindsight says this is a room filled nightly with people who are all here for the same reason, to find truth, to find Sebastian. I appreciate you all so much. Thank you, Hindsight. I appreciate you saying that. Yeah, I feel that too. I believe it. And people really want to know, people really want to know. And I agree. I saw one of your posts that said, there's always something new to talk about in this case. I think there is always something new and always something to reanalyze too, because, like, again, so much time has passed and so much has been said that I really believe that when we look at this over again, we hear different things. And now that we know what we know now that we didn't know then, we can also piece more of it together, and it makes more sense now than it did maybe back then. Or maybe there was something that we were thinking back then, and now we're like, well, no, that's not true anymore because we found this out. And so I think revisiting is so important. Reanalyzing is very important. Yeah, I believe that too. Kiki says, in my opinion, CP don't know his butt from a hole in the ground. I believe that too. And I think he's just always had a lot of people that were, really gung-ho for him and willing to, do his dirty work for him. We talk about narcissists and their flying monkeys. And the flying monkeys are always more than willing to do it. They enjoy it. They want to be a part of something again. They want to please the narcissist. Well, good, Twists and Turns. Thank you. Twists and Turns says, I did notify Trump about Sebastian. And I think that everyone needs to know. I think that the awareness, again, is really important. I haven't pulled in a new person to contact, but we will. I know it's probably going to be from the list that Jay put out. Because I really want to make it to where we're all doing something and staying on the same page, to where we can push out as much awareness and put a bug, like, look, here's another one for Sebastian Rogers. Oh, here's another letter for Sebastian Rogers. That's how they listen to us. And again, any of you who have signed the petition, for Seth's petition, thank you. Just know that everybody that does that is a part of something so much bigger. Just like when it comes to Crystal's sister Jana and the petition that we all signed from here, we're a big part of that, right? We're a big part of helping that new law to be passed about respect for people's remains when they're being sent out. It's so important that we get together, because one person being upset about it is one thing, but when you have two, then they oh, okay, 3, oh, wait a minute, 4, all these people, 5, and so on and so on. Then they realize, like, this isn't going to go away. These people actually care. And that's what it takes. Yes, we do. We love our Hindsight. She's great. And Mama Marissa and BMW Coupe, I mean, they are in it for the truth. And that's what's most important. Because if we're operating on untruths, then we're just like Craddock. SI officer says, you all should speak up soon. Tell us where you put him, because this is not going away and only more truth will be exposed. I agree. And they do not want that. That's the last thing they want. That's why they have these people coming out doing the hokey pokey when it comes to Bobbie, And I know the hokey pokey is a dance, a little song and dance, but that's always what I like to, when somebody's bullshitting me, they're doing the hokey pokey, right? They're doing a little song and dance, hoping I believe it. I don't believe it. Not at all. You could replay your old crap that you recorded and this and that. It's not going to convince me. If I thought Bobbie had something to do with it, I'm pretty sure I would have caught it onto it with her interview with JLR, where she sat there and we saw her facial expressions, Chris and Katie, We saw Bobbie's facial expressions. We saw her body movement. We heard the tone in her voice, the inflection in her voice, all of it. She did something that you refused to do. She showed her face. Because you guys still don't ever show your face. But Seth does. Seth does. So why can't you? Patty says, SI officer, where is some info about that? The person running through the yard before, I never heard it. So curious now. Thanks for being here, Patty. Yeah. I'm thinking it was very early on in Sebastian's case. Ugh. Yeah, Seth, it's like they have the jurisdiction. Robini, it was in their neighborhood chat with the video. Oh, thank you, Robini. I knew one of you guys would remember exactly where that was. Now, there was a lot of crap that was going down on Facebook at that time. A lot. And don't forget, Bobbie was the admin for the Facebook group for the neighborhood, right? She just was, it is what it is. But it's because her family had lived there for a long time, right? I mean, her sister lived in the neighborhood at one point, she said. She didn't have to give us all of that information about herself, but she did. That doesn't sound like somebody who's hiding the truth. That shows someone who is transparent, who gets up there and is straightforward. At no point during Bobbie's interview did I say to myself, this lady's lying. Oh gosh, I can't anymore with her, and turned her off. No, I hung on every word that she said. I analyzed that video and I put it up as part of my Polished Turds series. And I know that's real professional of me. But that was it. And it was because, and Bobbie was the first video in that series. And it's because she's coming out and she's telling the truth, in my opinion. But we have all of these creators who are out there just polishing Chris and Katie up as if they were like good people, but they're really not, right? I mean, it is what it is. The things that they said about Sebastian, the horrible things that they said about him. And Katie did too. And when she didn't say it herself, she laughed at it when it was being said. She actually let the news anchor call Sebastian weird, or his tendencies weird. No. I just said there's nothing weird about my son, first of all. Because there isn't. But don't forget, this is what Chris told Granny. This is what he said to her. 31-second clip.
High functioning.
Mm-hmm. I mean, and that's why, like, I was trying to just put it out there. It's like, everybody has come up with this idea, and that's not the case. Mm-hmm. People wouldn't know Sebastian. Like, if we had never said he was autistic, people would not have a clue that Sebastian was autistic. They would thought something was wrong with him, and not ever said autism.
Right. And you know what? If he...
I mean, seriously? Seriously. And Granny goes, well, I wish they wouldn't have pushed that narrative. Well, what kind of friggin' narrative is that? There's something wrong with Sebastian? No way. I never thought that. Again, and I say it all the time after I play that clip, never thought anything was ever wrong with Sebastian. I think something's wrong with Chris, not Sebastian. Yeah, it's interesting, Patty. I'll have to look for it. We'll have to look for it. We can play it. Because it's out there. I know it's out there. Twist and Turn says, I've been saying for a long time we need to be in the front of Sumner County Sheriff's Office petitioning, shouting justice for Sebastian. Get off your asses. Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. They're not doing what they need to be doing, in my opinion. They want us to think they are. They tell us we're doing all we can, but they're not showing us that. I'd rather see action than hear them say that ever again. The hall monitor says maybe CP was afraid of your canines because he knew he could he couldn't buy you off, Jules. Right. Yeah, I think so. I think anybody who has enough integrity, Chris hates them because he knows. You know, Christy Smith, I believe that Terry Lynn was playing both sides from the beginning. I don't think she was on our side at all. I think she was rebranding herself because she was a grifter in the other community that she came from. And her rebranding of herself was an opportunity to exploit Sebastian. And she did that for as long as she could before she came out and showed her who her true self is. And I've done a lot of research on that. So it's unfortunate, but yeah. And that's why I watch the chats too, Seth, because I don't want to, but when somebody sends me something and it's a clip of something wretched like that, I always go and see if the live chat is on, so I can see what other people are saying and who's all, down with that shit, because it's nasty to me and I don't want to be affiliated with any of them. That's why you guys don't see Meganels in here, because she's another one that likes to, come over and act like she's for Sebastian when she's not. That's not all right with me. What gets me is the flippy floppy people. I see them in all the chats and I don't trust them, Seth. Yeah, I don't trust them either. You can't anymore from them, you just can't. No, and please don't. Yeah, that's it too, Kiki. And it's not anybody's fault that has love or trust for other people. It's their fault for being exploitative and nasty rats, in my opinion. Because that's all it was about. She's absolutely horrible now, Patty. Absolutely horrible. She's looking for friends, I guess, and to be accepted by the nasty ones. Yeah. That's whose live that was sent to me, that clip was, of them being mean to that creator Earth because she wasn't nasty enough for them. The video that she made about a creator who she only has 100 people. And they shamed her off of Terry Lynn's live. Well, they didn't tell her to get down. She got down off of the live herself. She dropped off because the song that she made wasn't mean enough. And so she felt embarrassed and she left the stage. So she, because nobody praised her for being an asshole, because she wasn't a big enough asshole for them. And if you guys want to see it for yourself, it was so funny. It was the very end of a 12-hour live where they blamed Bobbie. I kind of went through it really quick to just see what the topics were, and I looked at the transcripts, because you could read those through and you don't even have to hear their nastiness. You could just read through them. And yeah, it was at the end, all the way at the end. So you could just scroll all the way to the end, and she's telling them, "Oh, I'm going to hell. You're getting me in so much trouble, UA. You're going to get me in big trouble. And this is going to be great." And she's cackling like an evil witch. And, she got booed off stage, and instead of, them telling her she did an all right job. But that's how mean they are. They're not nice to each other. Like, they're evil to each other. That wasn't mean enough, But it's not surprising or shocking. It's just kind of like, wow. But yeah, somebody said that, and then I go over and see this, because I know a girl who loves frogs. She's come into our chat before. She's a very nice person, and she started her own channel, and and so I was like, okay. And I go over and I'm like, oh, she only has like 100 people. Like, that's really weird that they would go after her, of all people, you know? Detroit says, Seth, that's really effed up. I heard the DA is retiring. Do you know who's replacing him? You know, I wish I knew that too. I think he's going to have to be elected in Detroit. But, you know, I don't know if they have it set up to where, like, they already have somebody, you know, ready to, you know, take his place and run, and he'll run unopposed like Craddock did. I mean, that's a possibility, you know? It's a possibility. Yeah, and you have to be that way, Hindsight. You have to be that way. The circle has to remain very small. Yeah. Yeah, because, you know, and it's tough because people use screen names on here, and then they have different emails, and then, you know, you really have to go through and recognize, because even the other day I realized that this person had come to me and told me that this other person didn't have their email, and, you know, they can't believe what was being done to me, but then they end up, you know, being a snake just like that. And that's when I tell you to go F yourself. Chrissy Smith says, y'all, this case has been so weird. 1 minute people are for Sebastian, and the next they are best friends with CP and KP. Yeah, Christy, and it's the whole local group, right? And I think it's just been that way from the beginning. They try to work, you know, with people who are trying to find Sebastian, so that way they can get information and bring it back to Chris and Katie. They're flying monkeys, you know. And Jewel says, Hall Monitor CP was telling everyone my credentials were legit until he found out K9 Ara could detect through concrete and K9 Gator can find medication. That's when it started. Wow, Jules. Wow. Wow. It's always someone who has something to bring to the table. It's always something that someone has, you know, to bring to the table. And then it's discredit, defame, slander, bully, the whole nine. Twist and Turns is absolutely horrible. We can't trust this world. I know. Can't trust in the world. And it is. But, you know, I think that people are brought into our lives for a reason. And I think that even when it's a real shitty reason, it's to show us that these things exist. And it also shows us so we can learn how to identify these people when they first come in, right? Because then you get like a roadmap that you didn't have before. And don't beat yourself up. I try not to either. Hey, Scranton Strangler, good to see you. I try not to either because I feel like me being a mod for Terry Lynn and being involved in her community, I failed Sebastian. It makes me feel absolutely fucking awful. And that's on me. Hey, momming it up. That's on me. You know, I wasn't innocent in that. I was right there thinking that she was great and she was trying to help find Sebastian. No, I should have done my research better and I should have realized who she was. But I didn't. Patty says, Seth, yes, don't trust too many. A lot of people are crazy. They are, Patty, and they have their own agendas when they reach out, right? Whether it's because somebody told them to do it, somebody sent them over to do it, or because they're just a rotten person and they can't wait to go over there and say, look what I did for you. Like I said, like a cat that brings, you know, a dead animal to somebody, you know? SI officer says, no, we're talking about a precious child that deserves so much better and so much more than games, lies, and stories. I agree. And that's what they've been doing to distract from actually finding out what happened to Sebastian. And I agree with you. That's so well said, SI officer. Sebastian is precious. He does not deserve to be in the middle of any of this crap. And neither do any other children or cases. Krama needs to find something else, in my opinion. There's no reason for them to be involved in any of these cases. they're doing a major injustice, in my opinion. It's one thing to get up there and have an opposing opinion about what's going on in a case. I respect people that come up here, even when I don't agree with what they're saying. I still respect them for at least trying. But we have people who are deliberately trying to hinder an investigation, intimidate others. It's absolutely awful. And again, if you're dealing with that, find out who you're dealing with and then report them accordingly, because you won't be sorry that you did that. What you'll be sorry about is that you didn't do it right when it first starts. You got to nip it in the bud. Nip it right in the butt. Seth's so sad, honey. So, oh, yes. Kiki, thank you. Twisted turns. Hey, pretty Mommin. We love Mommin. They're bullies, Rob Beanie. They're just bullies, you know, and they're bullying people because they're putting out information that's pertinent to the case, you know, and that's what they want, you know, and the family's a bunch of bullies, Vic. You're right. You know, that's Sebastian at his birthday party. He doesn't look like he's having a good time. And we all know why. SI officer says, why don't we have any video footage from the arcade that he was at in 2024, not 2023? Oh, is there footage that they put out of the arcade? I didn't know that, SI officer. Every picture they have shown us in the older picture, every video they have displayed is older video, nothing from 2024. Yeah. Well, they were doing that in the beginning, putting out younger pictures of Sebastian, when really they could have put out, well, I mean, I think actually they did put out this one, not him looking angry. He was proud because they won. Thank God. But many of the other pictures were out of date. We thought the one picture of Katie and Sebastian was at the Texas Roadhouse because it was at the Texas Roadhouse. But like you said, SI officer, it was from a different visit, not the one in question on the last night where he was last seen leaving the Texas Roadhouse. That's the only proof that we have, right, in my opinion, of him leaving. So why didn't they show us that picture of him and his mother? Is it because they couldn't get one where he wasn't nervous or upset or being denied complimentary roles? Because she denied him of that. I don't care if he had 60 roles, she still denied him of one, in my opinion. SI officer says exactly, and we are still waiting on the so-called cleared up FBI taking out the footage trash. I'll wait. I'm waiting too, Hindsight. Yeah, and God only knows what they're going to put out on that one, you know? It's crazy. SI officer says something I wanted to tell you. Ask LE to see the video footage showing Sebastian taking out the garbage. If it's pixelated or blurry, etc., take a screenshot, go back to your contrast. Yeah. Yeah, and that's the way that we can see so much more, right, SI officer? We're going to be making sure to kind of put it into perspective. If I wasn't such a novice at the time that I did the enhanced photo, I would have understood better on how to explain how to view what I put out. And this time I'm very more well versed than I was. Not an expert by any means, but better than I was. Jewel says, I just spoke with CP. I was never allowed to talk to KP. The only time we spoke was when she sent me a Facebook message in the very, very beginning asking for a decal. Oh, yeah. Okay. I remember that. Or I remember the decals, Jules. Thank you for clarifying that. I really appreciate you doing that. Yeah, getting rid of Sebastian's animals is so uncalled for. You know, I thought it was odd too, Vic, that in the live with QB and Chris and Katie, and then they had other panelists up. Uh, Chris talked about how they had the two Morkies, and that one was supposed to be his, and the other one was supposed to be Katie's. What about Sebastian? You took his cat, you took his cats, plural. You took his snake. You took all of it. And then you guys buy dogs, for one for you and one for Katie. Has anybody ever heard of that? Because I haven't. In a household, usually you buy an animal for your child to teach them responsibility, compassion, love, care, which Sebastian already had that. The only thing they taught Sebastian was disappointment, in my opinion. Thanks, Rob Beanie, or excuse me, thank you. Scranton Strangler says, Seth, hugs and prayers always for you and Sebastian. We will never stop talking about him until he's found and brought home. Thank you, Scranton. Okay, SI officer says, and if they are trying to pass the arcade video off as 2025, they are completely wrong because they are wearing the same exact clothing of 2023. Oh, okay, so they did put another one out. I guess I need to start going on X again because Chris was like, they don't ever. Sorry, Christy says, Chris was like, they done a search everywhere, like, we need to stop looking, evil people. Yeah, and I mean, they don't want us to keep looking. It's weird. They say, like, keep searching, but in the same way, they're like, keep searching. It's pretty wild. It's pretty wild. Good night, Miss Ann. Thanks for being here. Yeah, Lord Lodge is from PA. Yeah, Jules, he is. Thank you. Or the guys are, the lads. The lads. See, Miss Ann, we all love you so much over here. Patty says, my cousin helped search in the beginning, and she had told me everyone is a suspect of CP and KP. That's how I know about this case at first, and I know more than her now, though she doesn't watch the YouTube. Well, and yeah, that's the thing. Like, you know, I believe YouTube more than I would believe America's Most Wanted these days, and I never thought I would say something like that because of what they did. That's nice of your cousin to help search Patty. You know, and that's the thing. They want to scare people away from searching because otherwise they're going to say, oh, you're the one that did it. You know, heaven forbid somebody did find Sebastian. Do you know how many people would be blaming them instead of Katie and Chris? It's sick. That's what it's designed to do, in my opinion. It's designed to make people not want to search for him. No, Vic. What happened with Green Hoodie, to the best of my knowledge, is that Green Hoodie was suspected to be Chris's cousin, but Chris's cousin passed away. And so people were thinking that the Green Hoodie passed away and that law enforcement was lying about speaking to the Green Hoodie in December because people were saying, well, if that person passed away, you know, a couple months before that, then how did LE talk to them in December? But really what it was is that LE was saying that it was someone completely different than Chris's family member who passed. So that's to the best of my knowledge. But again, I still don't believe them, you know. SI officer says A, for camera placement, and B, to make it seem like someone suspicious was lurking in the yard a day prior or so to Sebastian being missing, in my opinion. Yeah, and it could have been them out there checking to see, you know, scoping it out, right? I'm still not convinced that Chris was in Memphis all weekend. I think he might have came home for the weekend, and I think he might have headed out, you know. Thank you, Hindsight. Momming It Up says, SA officer, I've always felt there's a lot that points toward having something planned. Have to keep putting up fires and making people see him. So someone who knows something would have to unburden themselves. Well, and that's the biggest thing, Mommin, is that these people are carrying a heavy burden and it has to be so stressful, right? Whoever knows what happened to Sebastian, and I have it under good authority that somebody does know what happened to Sebastian. I think that they are carrying a terrible burden, along with anyone who has guilty knowledge. They're all carrying that burden. And how soon they want to let go of that burden and unburden themselves is up to them, unfortunately. But I wish law enforcement would start hurrying that along, right, a little bit by re-questioning people. I mean, there's nothing wrong with doing that. Have a lawyer there, you know? Yeah, the beginning of lies, many, many lies, in my opinion. Yeah, and it's unfortunate because there's been lies from the beginning, you know? That's why the Uvalde Foundation was like, we can't help here, you know? Christy Smith says, why was everyone mad at Bobbie? I must have missed something. So here's the thing, Christy, from the best of my knowledge, it's because they believe that Bobbie's son or sons, right, her kids, have something to do with Sebastian's disappearance. Because they're saying that Bobbie has inserted herself into the case by looking at footage from the neighbors' cameras. But, you know, she's the OG admin to the Facebook page. So I'm sure a lot of people were showing her footage. And especially if you're, you know, friends with your neighbors, which I am. I mean, I just saw my neighbor up at the grocery store the other day and I gave her a big hug and we're like, hey, we usually see each other, you know, at the pool or whatever. And, you know, here she is at Publix. And so it's one of those things. And if a kid in the neighborhood went missing, I could see the two of us getting together and trying to figure it out. I mean, so to me, that's not weird at all. What's weird is that they don't want us to look at the flashlight video. They want us to look at every other video in the neighborhood that night besides that one. You know, so that's a huge red flag for me. Also, I think to put it on Bobbie is a disgrace. I think it's disgraceful. And, you know, SF has been caught in so many lies and has slandered so many people. It all sounds very premeditated all the way around. I think so too, Michelle. Yeah, that's my opinion as well. Hindsight says, Vic agreed they are way too much and it makes things so difficult for others who really want to know the truth. Feel free to ask anything, and if I can clear it up, I'm more than happy to. Thank you, Hindsight, for doing that. It's important. It's important to know. It's important to know these things. It's important for us to share information, good information, you know, stuff that we can verify. You know, that's the thing about these other channels, guys. They're not putting up receipts. They're not. They are not showing some aha moment or a gotcha moment, because I feel like that's what they're doing to Bobbie, is like trying to have a gotcha moment with her, right? They're trying to call her and, you know, record her without her knowledge, and they're trying to, you know, get her in this gotcha type moment, and they haven't so far. So instead, they're just blatantly making up lies about her and her children and putting it out there, and then, you know, having other people say, oh yeah, oh yeah, No. How about, oh, no, no, no. Because you don't have any receipts, you know? Congratulations also, Maman. I forgot to tell you. Congratulations on your son's graduation. Oh my goodness. And thank you, thank you, thank you for his service. Because um, I know that he is working hard. Yeah, I mean, we could write letters to President Trump, to the White House secretary or whatever. I mean, I don't think he'll get them himself, but I mean, we sure as hell could try. I mean, address to the White House, you know. Aw, thank you. Thank you so much. That's so sweet of you, Vic. I agree. I agree that Hindsight and Kiki, yeah, thank you. Thank you so much. Are doing an amazing job for Sebastian's case. Yeah, thank you. And you guys are doing an amazing job by being here, and listening and bringing in ideas and theories. You did. Christy Smith says, I wrote a letter to Trump begging for help. Thank you, Christy Smith. That's fantastic. I really appreciate you doing that. That is fantastic. Oh, okay. Kiki says, I found an article that did say there's stipulations about being able to turn it over to FBI. Yeah. See, the problem that we're facing here is that Sumner County Sheriff's Office has jurisdiction. So in order for other entities to come in, they would have to be asked by Sumner County Sheriff's Office. So one of my biggest fears is that Sumner County Sheriff's Office is going to hold Sebastian's case hostage and hold it open. That way no one can get a FOIA, no one can get information at all. And it'd be stuck cold. And that's my biggest fear. Now, one stipulation that I found is that if there's evidence of a federal crime that was committed, then the FBI can step in and take over jurisdiction without Sumner County's asking them to do so. That's my understanding. In my opinion, you know how I feel about it. Good night, Patty. Thank you for being here. I appreciate you being here. I do. Thank you. Hey, Carla. Good to see you. Oh, are you looking for the petition, Carla? It's on change.org. I can it's on Seth's community page, and it's also on my community page. I was gonna say I need to repost it, but I think if that's the one you're talking about. I appreciate you being here, Scranton. I do. Yeah, Mom says absolutely. Letters, even return receipt or hand delivery. If you're around a place that you could hand them to someone. I started doing it with James Yoblonsky when I do Sebastian's Just a Different State. Yeah, that's really cool. That's really cool, Mom, and thank you for letting us know that. Yeah, and I mean, it's just something small that we can do, and we can feel good about it. We get out, our frustrations, and my biggest thing. Oh, thank you. Yeah, thank you so much, Mom, and for grabbing the link. Yeah, I mean, that's the least we can do. But I would just say, I would just remind everybody that you catch more flies with honey than vinegar, right? And just be nice about it. But you could also be strong and stern and, and passionate. Those are the things that get people's attention, but kindness goes a long way, and just, being nice goes a long way, I think. Contrary to what others might think, I think that being nice is a good thing. And I think it's much more hard to be nice to somebody, especially if you don't like them, than it is to be mean to them, because that's the easy option for people who aren't, very smart. Um, but somebody who is kind, and does the right thing, that's harder than, being a jerk. You did, Kiki. That's great. I reached out to a senator in my near my town, and I'm praying it helped. Yeah, I remember you saying that, and that's so great. That's what we need to be doing, is like bringing it to everybody, right? Because sometimes people just don't know. They don't know what's going on. I might not know about what's going on with Sebastian if it wasn't for being in Pascal's chat, and that's where I heard about it. Um, yeah. Yeah, Detroit says anyone. I don't care who it is. This is beyond ridiculous. Why aren't the U.S. Marshals stepping in? The whole system is corrupt. It's sick. Yeah, well, and I mean the really scary part was like all of the trafficking and things that were going on. Detroit, it's sick, because there's evidence of there being relationships, that go to even to as far as like China, and the corruption and money, being paid, and um, it's all to look the other way, because they are sick and they just want to perpetuate this nasty crap. In my opinion. Thank you guys for dropping that link. Thanks, Hindsight. Thank you so much. Twist and Turns with Ray. Twist and Turn says, with Ray Whitley, the DA in Sumner County, retiring, do you think this will be helpful? I hope so. I'm really hoping so, Twists and Turns. I do hope. Now, keep in mind, these people are elected officials. So my biggest fear is that this next person will be handpicked by DA Whitley, and, really well versed on how to keep things quiet. But I pray that person's heart changes when they're in that position, and maybe they'll blow the top off of this. But I don't know, I mean, will he have anybody that will even run against, will the predecessor even have someone running against him? Because like I said, with Eric Craddock ran unopposed. So it's just really scary, Oh, yeah. Cinderella, thank you for being here. Cinderella says, I have called Carter, left my name and number, and I made it crystal clear the world thinks they are involved. Thank you for doing that, Cinderella. And I think that they need to understand that, because it's not going to go away. And they're ruining their own reputations by what they're doing, in my opinion. I wouldn't ruin my reputation for anyone, especially not Chris. I mean, gosh, I'd have to at least care about that person a great deal or something. But I still would have never ruined my reputation for that person, willingly or knowingly. I mean, you could stick up for the wrong person, and that could be, a ding on your reputation. But, knowingly lying for somebody and concealing something like this, I mean, that could ruin somebody's reputation, I would think, like, where you can't come back from it. Mom says, I didn't think she was lying. I thought son calling nonstop was odd, but I get it. He was probably worried because they are unhinged, in my opinion. Yeah, that is another element, Mom, and thank you for bringing that up. That is another element that I can see where people might side-eye Bobbie a little bit, and because of the son calling her. But then again, it sounds like she's really close with her kids, and I mean, maybe he was calling to tell her something. I mean, I could see my daughter doing that, like, Mom, I have something to tell you, like she's trying to get a hold of me. Or like you said, it could have been because, I mean, we don't know what they were going through, if they were being bullied, if anybody knew about this interview beforehand or any of that, Yeah, Scranton says if the right person gets in his place, I hope it's not one of their cohorts talking or that are going to be taking his place. Yeah, and that's my biggest fear. Is that Whitley had decided to retire, and he already has a predecessor in mind. I'm sorry, did I say predecessor? I didn't mean it like that. Somebody who is going to take his place. Hey, Carla. Yes, absolutely. Hindsight says if you have not yet signed the petition that Seth has begun, here's the link to do so if you would like to show your support. Thanks, Hindsight. I really appreciate you guys doing that. I really do. It's so important, right? I mean, just we have to be on the same page, and we all have to make it known on this petition, right? Now, Seth started this petition a while back. It was either end of March, beginning of April. I can't remember exactly the date. But I will say that it was very early on that Seth decided that he wanted his son to come home, and he wanted the FBI to take over the case because he was not feeling very confident, and I would not be either, that they were doing what they were supposed to be doing, because they were operating under the assumption that Sebastian walked off, and we all know that is not feasible. We may not have known that then, but we know it now. Yeah, exactly, Scranton. Oh, but what happened to, he is 15, but he is very young in mind. That comes out of KP's mouth. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and then Chris says, oh, his mind hasn't caught up with his body. But, in my opinion, Scranton, there's nothing to prove that that's true at all. As a matter of fact, his teacher, Patricia Szymanski, said that Sebastian looks very much like any other teenager. And if you saw him, that you would think that he had no deficits at all. Again, that there was nothing to indicate that there was something, quote unquote, Chris, wrong with Sebastian. And also he was not behind in classes. He was not behind in his grade level. As a matter of fact, he was where he needed to be. He plays games like chess, Dungeons and Dragons, Magic the Gathering, all strategy games, all social games that you would play with at least one other person. So, I mean, none of it is true. Yeah, it's so sick, isn't it, C-Star? I mean, and I keep that little clip because, people who have never heard that before, they might think, oh yeah, Chris is a nice guy. But you hear something like that, and you realize he's not. He's the one with the problem if he thinks that there's something wrong with Sebastian. Because no one else thinks that. And no one else has tried to paint that picture of him other than Chris and Katie. You know what? And I'm sorry, guys. I'm a little bit behind in the chat. Hey, Bo. Good to see you. Good to see you. Hey, Perfectly Imperfect Boy Mom. That's disgusting and sad. They're miserable bottom feeders, in my opinion. They are. I mean, Perfectly Imperfect Boy Mom, it just doesn't make any sense. It makes absolutely no sense at all. Other than, let's see if we can, hurt somebody else and get praised by another. Yeah, I know, Perfectly Imperfect Boy Mom. Exactly. And I appreciate that from you because, I don't remember everybody's, I remember people's screen names, you know what I mean? But I don't remember, their email too, and then they're like, oh, I didn't email, this person emailed me And they didn't even have my email, and like she just straight up lied on this other person, and this other person is not a good person either. I mean, and here I am having to stick up for this other person, and I'm like, but this other person did dirt too. And then like I'm looking back in my email, and I find out that this person was emailing me with this other person, and I'm like, oh, for fuck's sake. Every time I turn around, I swear. Town Chat asks, Lady, did they ever determine the approximate age of the boy seen at the Motel 6 that time? Being younger, photos of Sebastian was put out. It was very confusing. They never really did, to my knowledge, Town Chat. They didn't. No. And every time they come out and say, oh, nothing to see here, it's very fast how they do that. It's weird. As if they didn't take enough time. I mean, even when it comes down to the glasses that Sebastian wore. They said that he was a younger kid. They said that he was much younger than Sebastian, and that's how they could determine so quickly that it wasn't him. They said he was younger. I do remember that. Detroit is hilarious. I love Detroit. Oh, Vic, why did KP why did KP go flying over to the Texas Roadhouse to view the video footage? So weird. I agree. And they did. They ran over there. They were so upset, demanding it. And, oh, how come, blah, blah, blah. It's like, why didn't you go over and get it yourself then? Why are you angry at the restaurant? That's not who you should be angry with. And has Katie demanded that they find her son at the police station? Because she hasn't done that. She has not. SI officer says that goes for other 4 dogs they had through the 7 years they've been together. What? Oh, yeah. Where are they? Yeah, I see what you're saying. There's an excuse for everything, and everything's disposable. Yeah, I agree. And that's not teaching someone that you love, your animals as if they're your, family members. That's kind of a really weird way to claim that you're teaching somebody something, or parenting style. C-Star says they ignore the best clue. They refuse to talk about it. I agree. And even Craddock says, oh, we don't know what we don't know, so we're going to keep it in Sebastian's file. But again, what's up with that? Because you haven't revisited it, obviously. And if you did, you would see some of the things that we're seeing in the footage. Town Chat Cafe says, oh, okay, I thought it was at least determined that the 3 a.m. car was an SUV or a gray car on Kellen. Weren't there 2 vehicles involved that night around 3 a.m.? To my knowledge, there's only the one. To my knowledge. This is one of the screen grabs that I got from Mob. And you can see it's the gray sedan. I wish we could get a plate number on that. Aw, I'm glad you're here, Scranton. Scranton says, Lady, I've missed hanging out in your live stream. Work had been busy, and then I was off for 2 weeks, and Mr. Strangler was being needy and wanted my attention. Aw, well, I don't blame him. I'm over here. I'll fight him for some attention, Scranton. That's too funny. Aw. That's cute, though. I'm glad you guys got a chance to hang out. I know it's hard, with everything. It can be, my head's always in my phone, or I'm on it. Carla says or Hindsight says, Carla, that is what At Night had said. Also followed Katie out of the parking lot, allegedly. Wish we had absolute confirmation visuals. I know. See, that's me too, Hindsight. I'm the same way. I always want to verify because I always want to get good info out so we can all work good info, not bad info, or work a fact rather than fiction, because that we're just wasting our time on that. Cinderella says I have written him, and then I reached out to Mrs. President. She is an advocate for kids. She is. That's a great idea, Cinderella. I'll reach out to Mrs. Trump. I almost called her his daughter's name. Yeah. Well, I think we found our next campaign. I think we need to just go straight to the president, shall we? Adam Forever 21 says, "You guys see Crime Time Buzz? She's hot. She's hot on the trail of that car at the hotel and association to the facts, or excuse me, association to the foots." Yeah. I have not watched her newest one. I have not, but I will. Yeah. Scranton says, "Lady, I recently watched a channel that laid out how corrupt TBI in Sumner County is. No secret in that area." Yeah, Scranton, I played a video from another creator too that was really convincing as to the level of corruption within the TBI. Also, when it comes to Sumner County in general. There was actually a shooting of a Millersville police officer. He was an assistant sheriff, and his house was involved in a drive-by, pew-pew situation. Ugh, hate saying that. I sound like a jerk. But while his family was in the house, his house was shot up. It's crazy. It's crazy to think. Oh, no worries, Carla. I didn't even see it. I didn't see it. I'm a little bit behind. I'll scroll up a little bit. Mr. E needs to run for DA. I agree. He's very level-headed, isn't he? He's very level-headed, and I like that he's cautious and analytical, but yeah, and practical, so I think he would do a fantastic job. And, he cares, and that's a big part of it. I was watching, I think it was like a live PD or something earlier, and they had this gal, and they had pulled her over, and she was like in trouble because she had stolen some hygiene products from a store, right? And I'm like, I feel so bad for her because she's crying and she's carrying on about how she just wanted to be clean and she just wanted to smell good, and that people were teasing her because she did it. Well, she was really trying to play the police officers, and I'm like, they're being so mean to her, and like this is why I could never be a police officer, right? Because I would be like, okay, honey, and I gotta let her go. Well, they end up finding like all kinds of math, right? Not arithmetic, but they found all kinds of math in her vehicle, and it was quite hilarious. Like, because I'm like, boy, they would have gotten past me because I would have felt bad for her, and I would have said, I would have probably given her money, and here, you can buy some new deodorant, but I mean, that's why they have to have that level of like a wall, right? But they don't seem to have that here. They seem to have like, my way of thinking, like, oh, come here, honey, poor thing. Oh, I'm so sorry that you're going through this, and really at the end of the day, they have involvement, in my opinion. That's their version of having math, paraphernalia stuff, Detroit says, can Seth file charges through family court or a higher court other than Sumner County? I was thinking about a civil lawsuit. I was, but it's just so expensive. That's the thing, because lawyers are just so expensive, and it can just be so tough. that's how the Petitos handled it with, you know, Brian and Gabby's case. But, you know, even in that case, they had to push law enforcement, right? Gabby was missing for like 10 days. Her, you know, van was sitting in the laundry's driveway, and, you know, they had to push the officers. It wasn't like they were suspicious right away. So I do think that could be an option. Yeah, Carla says Seth said he had to go through Craddock to even file a civil lawsuit. Okay, I might have missed that part. Carla, thank you. Well, the police would have to work with him. They would, you know. That's, yeah, I see where he's going with that. Yeah. Yeah, Kathy, this is a great point. I'm gonna put it up. I'm gonna read it off in a second here. Give me 1 second. I'm just gonna grab a tea. Okie dokie. Sorry about that, guys. So Kathy says, hindsight, do you know anything? Sorry. About Eric Craddock and his 4 properties? I heard he put them all in his wife's name. The only thing I could come up with, could he be afraid of losing them, in my opinion? Well, Craddock has way too many homes, in my opinion, in the same area. Now, I don't know if they're rental properties that he's, you know, kind of making money on the side or what. It's definitely odd to me that he's got that many properties as a police officer. They don't really make the best money. Now, he's asking for a raise. I don't know what that's about. Scranton says Detroit Seth did say in his last live that a lawsuit was coming, and I took that to mean that he was filing something. Does anyone know? I'm not sure about that, Scranton. I'm not. But I do remember him saying that in the live. Yeah. Oh, what the court? Oh, I see. Yeah. Thank you. Thanks, Carla. Yeah. With the court now, with the court thing, it's that Texana lady, and she's on YouTube, but, you know, don't give her any clout. She's a weirdo. I didn't even know she was posting stuff until it popped into my feed, and she's definitely a strange woman who is, in my opinion, one of Chris's minions, right? She shows up to the vigil, right? And she's filming and they're asking her not to, and she's being really rude. Like, I paid my $25. Where's my shirt? And when are we going to eat? And like, it's just rude. Like, who does that at a vigil? You know, she's very strange. Good morning, KJ Mack. Thank you for being here. But yeah, she's very strange, and she's not somebody that's trying to help. She's trying to stir the pot, you know, in my opinion. Well, and I think that they're setting everybody up, you know, they're setting everybody up. Because I think the clip that was sent to me at the very end of that clip was UA Crimson Tide talking about how there's been all this fraud in Clarksville. Oh, excuse me, in Davidson County. Time card fraud. So that's their new crap that they put out there. Again, I don't believe it for 1 second. I think it's a big load of crap. Hindsight says, given the short time frame, the governor's council will likely begin or will soon begin the application process. Yeah. And, you know, I don't know if they already have somebody lined up either, Hindsight, because it seems like they do that. Don't forget that, you know, Sheriff Weatherford was really trying to teach Craddock, you know, the way to run the office, the sheriff's office, because that was who he wanted as the new sheriff. So Twist and Turn says that great car is Danny Guy's. Yeah, I can see why you would think that. I know exactly why you would think that, Twist and Turns. And, you know, I would have to agree. I think that it's very possible. I just wish that we had the tag. You know, and who knows, somebody might have the tag in the neighborhood. It may have been caught on camera. Yeah, absolutely. Scranton says, Lady Freedom, heck yeah, let's hit Mr. and Mrs. Prez with emails and calls about Sebastian. Yeah, I think that is a good next step. I do. So yeah, thank you, Scranton. I appreciate that. Kathy says she supposedly was employed by Mama Stinky Socks. At least that's what I heard. Oh, okay. A listen-in device on all the stinks is needed. I agree. Any stink out there, you know, I think they need to figure out what's going on with these weirdo YouTubers too. I'm sorry, but there's something not right with these folks. Other than, I think, you know, most of them are very insecure and mentally ill. But on top of that, I think that they're involved in covering a lot of this up. You know, I think there's things that they know that Chris and Katie have not told law enforcement. And that's just my opinion. Maybe they need to start hauling their asses in for questioning, in my opinion. Cool, Detroit. Yeah, I'll go check her out. Yeah, check out Crime Time Buzz, guys. Yeah, thank you for the recommendation. I know I need to go back and you know, go over a lot of this stuff. I do. Because there's so much that has come out. I mean, Sebastian's case is hot on the YouTube street, you know, on the streets here. Yeah, it is crazy, Scranton. It's so crazy. The way that, well, he says that there's a percentage of corruption, and I'd like to know what percentage. I have reached out for an answer on that, so we'll see, you know, what we come up with. Thank you. Thanks, Kiki. Kiki says, just looked it up, and a new DA can't be in office, meaning elected, until May of 2026. Ay vey. Oh, gosh. So I wonder who they'll have in his stead. Vic, Chris from the Mob Crew is a cutie. He is. He's a sweetheart. I agree. And he's funny as hell. Yeah, Mr. E would know what's going on. C-Star, absolutely. Absolutely. And I don't know what it takes to be a DA. I'd imagine you'd have to be in law enforcement of some sort. But I don't know. Okay, it says that they can turn in applications until December 26th, 2025. And then they cut that off, and then, okay. Good to know. Thank you, Kiki. Yeah, and that makes sense. Oh, it could even be 2030? Oh, wow. So who would be appointed in the meantime if he's retired effective in September? May 2026 is still a long time away. Here's a bar of soap and $20. C-Star. I swear I felt so bad for that poor girl until they started pulling out all that stuff from her car. I was like, oh, that's why I'm not a cop. I wouldn't be doing a very good job. You know? So, hell, I might have been duped by Katie, you know, I don't know. Because that lady was like, she started crying. I just want to smell good. And I'm like, oh, this poor girl, you know. Carlos says, I'm with you, Hindsight. Well, yeah, but he wants out because shit's going to hit the fan. Yeah. Well, and you know, another thing to consider too, guys, is this is how people can be manipulated, right? Because all you have to do is turn the waterworks on, and sometimes, you know, it gets you really far. And especially if you're a person who is not on math, right? And you're clean and, you know, clean cut and everything. You're, you know, again, your house is not disheveled, right? It's like, you know, clean and there's food, and that can really throw the officers off, right? Because they're so used to like seeing these people that are not put together, you know, and so when they see people that are put together, I'm sure there's a bit of unconscious bias that has to come into play, you know? Yeah. They really did F up Gabby's. And, you know, once they realized what they were dealing with, they even, you know, tried to put surveillance on. And that was, you know, that went over like a turd in the punch bowl because, you know, they thought Roberta was, you know, Brian. And yeah, same here. I will say that was a big, yeah. Scranton Strangler says this case and Karen Reed's case has completely killed my faith in LE and out in the justice system, in our justice system. My rose-colored glasses are shattered. Oh, I'm so sorry. I know, Scranton, and see, like, I try not to be overly suspicious of everyone, but you know, when you see something like I was describing on Live PD, and you're just like, gosh, you know, she was totally playing like she was trying to, at least, you know, playing on his heartstrings, playing on his emotions, and he just like, calm down. That's what he kept saying. He's like, calm down, you know. And then she finally did, and oh boy, it was just on. I mean, once they searched her car, it was like over, you know. I don't know why he has 4 homes, Cinderella. It's strange, right? It's strange. Ooh, Alec Murda's case was another one that was... okay. Hindsight says the council recommends 3 nominees to the governor, who appoints an interim DA to serve until the next election, likely 20. Oh boy. So okay, so they're gonna select from the 3 nominees given to the governor, and then there'll be an interim DA that will serve until election time. So it could be possibly 2026 or 2030. Boy. Yeah, that's not too promising in my opinion. Thank you, Robini. I never understood why she's suing Seth either. I never understood it either. And I do now a little bit, now that I know that Chris is involved with it, and so is his mom. You know, they sent that lady to the vigil on purpose to stir shit up, and in my opinion, she was successful in doing that. You know? And she was being really rude. I would just show the judge that video and be like, this is what she was doing at, my son's vigil. Applications are applications are from August through December 2025. Thanks, Kiki. Yeah, and so, from what Hindsight was saying, so then they'll select from those applicants an interim DA, and then come election time, they'll be elected in. Someone will, whoever runs. Yeah, these cameras don't lie. Cameras do not lie. I absolutely agree, Cinderella. That's right. Detroit, or Carla says Detroit because the Clue and fans told her to because it would be funny. I can see that being true. Well, and I know for a fact that day that Clue was slinking around the vigil as well. Like she was driving around past, sending her daughter, doing stuff like that, in my opinion. Kathy says, Lady, a lot of sheriffs take advantage of the perks that come with power of their office. He wouldn't be the first, nor will he be the last. Just my humble opinion. You're absolutely correct, Kathy. I agree with you there. I do. I think that sometimes people respect the power, as in when there's with great power comes great responsibility. But I think other people let it go to their head and they think, oh, I could do anything now, So I agree with you. And it's not something that's like an isolated incident. It's something that is going to continue on and on, like you said, because people do let the power go to their head, and because we are only human. But, golly, we could really use some better people who respect the power that they have, and know the responsibility that comes with it. C-Star says she was told to leave the vigil, but that was the bar owner. It would, is what I remember, possibly just talk. No, I think you're right there, C-Star. I think they had told her to leave the establishment, which they have every right to do, especially in a bar situation. You have the right to refuse service to anyone. The bartender has that discretion because, look, it's on the bartender, and it could cost the establishment their licensing, their liquor license, if they overserve someone, or if somebody causes trouble, or if there is, a fight, or somebody gets hurt, or any of that stuff. So yeah, it's up to the discretion of the establishment to reserve the right to either serve someone or not. And I think that her going there was nothing more than to stir the pot again. And, she's another one that just wants to insert herself and, be a vigilante for Chris instead of one for justice. And, it's unfortunate because Sebastian deserves much better than that. And I don't know who that lady thinks she is, really. Hindsight says yes, so they are probably going to, with the interim from one of the assistant DAs for now. Oh, I see. Yeah, that makes sense. Like, the assistant DA would step up and into that position. That makes sense. Yeah. SI officer says out there in the bushes with a megaphone's satellite listening device. Yes, exactly. Oh, exactly, SI officer. Wouldn't it be nice? That'd be so nice. Yeah. I did hear that same thing. Adam Forever 21. No, he's the police trying to bust out Millersville and Sumner County corruption. Yeah, he's an officer. Yeah, he was the assistant sheriff, and they raided the Millersville Police Department, and then they went and raided his home. the assistant, not the sheriff, the assistant sheriff, which is odd. You know it? It's odd. Oh, okay, hindsight. I'm thinking they will go with Nathan Nichols is the lead prosecutor for child abuse cases in the office. I sure hope so. I sure hope they have somebody in there that wants justice. We need somebody that wants justice, not some old fart who's been in there way too long. I'm not sure what year he returned to Tennessee, Cinderella. I don't think it was terribly long ago. I'm thinking maybe within 5 years, but I'm not 100% on that. Because in the beginning of the relationship, he and Katie were still in California. So yeah, she is a smart cookie. She is Detroit. I agree. I like Jay. She's smart. She's passionate, you know. Hindsight, I will leave that with Google it, y'all. I know there's a lot of things to say on this, you know. Hindsight, I didn't even get a chance to look really. I'm just like, oh, hopefully it's not, you know, hopefully it's not somebody that's right along with them, you know. You're good, Kiki. Good night. I'm right there with you. I'm right there with you. Because I still have to do some research for tomorrow night's show. And we're going to do a members only. It's another thing. I'm going to try to see if I can't. I was going to try to give some memberships out. I might even have to push it a little bit. I'm so sorry. This week has been so crazy, guys. And then, like, we're losing all of our celebrities. Good night, Kiki. Thank you. Thank you. You know, Hulk Hogan, guys. I mean, you know, when you grow up with a brother that's, you know, not terribly far in age from you, you kind of, you know, get into some of that stuff. And I always remember watching Hulk Hogan and, you know, all of those guys, Andre the Giant, and, you know, it's just weird. It's weird. So we've lost a lot of people. But, you know, it's been a whole week full of that kind of stuff, you know. That is so true, hindsight. When we were children, we looked toward teachers to be great leaders. We as adults do the same with law enforcement. It's unfortunate when both of those things fail and disappoint us. I agree. That is so well said. You know, it's really disappointing, especially when, you know, those are the last people that you think that you shouldn't be able to, you know, that how can I say it? LE should be the most trustworthy place for, you know, information. We should have faith in what they're doing. We should support them. But then, you know, when there's a level of corruption as I see it, I can't. And it's very disappointing. And, you know, it makes you wonder how many other people have been, you know, screwed over, or how many other cases have fallen through the cracks. And, you know what I might do tomorrow, guys, is maybe I'll just go live early and try to, you know, gift out some memberships then. Because maybe we could do that. Oh, thank you, Town Chat Cafe, for gifting a Lady Freedom membership. Oh, if you get a Lady Freedom membership, please say thank you to Town Chat and welcome to the Dragon Tribe. Yeah. Thanks, Town Chat. That is so sweet of you. I have heard of the name in this chat. Have you? I don't think so. I would have to look back. Sometimes I go over the live chat. Sometimes I do. Good night, Carla. Thanks for being here. I'll read this one from Adam Forever 21. Says, I was just in family court the other day and totally disgusted in the judge and in the system. Who can we trust anymore? Yeah, I'm so sorry, Adam Forever 21. I know that you do so much for the kids, and I know that you're a foster parent, and I hate to hear that you were disheartened in court from something a judge did or said, and I'm so sorry. It's frustrating. It's frustrating because these people are elected officials, and when they run, they tell us what we want to hear or what they think that we want to hear, right? And it's just really unfortunate when we can't trust them because we think that we should be able to. And when we also, I guess we have an expectation that they're going to know to do the right thing. And it is. It's just so frustrating. Detroit says, my kids and brothers were big fans. They were at the Pontiac Silverdome WrestleMania. Oh, rest in peace, Hulkster. That's awesome, Detroit. Yeah. Oh, totally. And then again, he was also on MTV on a show with his family. And, I think his daughter's name was Brooke, and I can't remember what the boy's name was, but I always thought he was cute, and yeah, it's sad. Thank you, Kathy. Thank you all for being here so much. And like I said, I need to do those gifted memberships. That's one thing that I had on my list that I didn't get done this week. But let me figure that out. Maybe we'll just do like a quick live, and then, tomorrow night we'll do a members only, or maybe we'll push it to Sunday, but I hate to do that. But we just might need to do that. We'll check it out. But in the meantime, just say prayers for Sebastian, spread the flyer out. If you haven't texted it to friends, definitely do that. Let's write Mr. and Mrs. Trump and see what we can get done there. That would be great. And also just, let's just keep fighting for the truth and figure out what happened here, because if it could happen to one, it can happen to any of us. So we just always got to remember that. So, hey, Jude. Hey, Jude, look at my shirt. Hold on. Let me see if I can get it. It's Abbey Road. It's Abbey Road. So. So good to see you. Hey, Jude. Oh, I'm so glad to see it. And now I'm going off here. But yes, and I still have to figure that out. So thank you. Thank you. All right, guys. Well, I love you all so much, and I will see you all tomorrow night. We're going to get it figured out. We're just, I'm still so new. I'm going to want to figure this one out. But you all have a wonderful rest of your night, and stay safe out there. And like I said, I'm going to either put together a video or I'll post something on the community tab about if you guys are, out there getting harassed or bullied. We got to stand up against it, stand up against it. So, thank you, Hey Jude, for gifting a membership. If you got a membership from Hey Jude, say thank you and welcome to the Dragon Tribe. Thanks, Hey Jude. All right, I love you guys. You guys are the best. Thank you. I'll see you soon.